Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli. And
Hello.
with us tonight is Netter of Netter's Network. I guess our third
Yes.
host.
Yep.
Hi, y'all.
It's a ghostly
Don't
host.
be
Oh, very
fooled.
nice.
She's here to be the bouncer. You guys behave yourself in.
Yes,
Yes, I want
exactly.
to say hello to all my sweeties out there.
Absolutely. You guys are all, as she says, Osmo.
Yes.
So here we are, the last Sunday in July
It is. My
for
gosh, where'd the
2025.
time go?
Time flies when you're having fun, right? We always try
Well,
to have
time
fun
flies
here.
when you have a lot to do, let me tell you.
Exactly. So let me welcome the chat. Got a hi, sweetie, from Netter. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Agent Boomer, Connie Cleary, welcome. Always good to see you. Let's see who else is in the chat. Let's see. We got Curtis Selby, welcome.
We've got a pretty full crowd here already.
Yeah, JPRPH1, Rosefire, welcome. Oh, wait, what is this? Hail, folks, Canada, Fedora logo mumbler. Okay. I know you're from
Okay.
Canada. What's up?
There you go.
Rosefire, pack up the limbas, sheath your elven blade, and join the fellowship as we trek through Middle Earth with the Geeky Geezers. Oh, is that
Yep.
the limbas? Is that stuff that was in the leaves?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the
Okay.
elven bread that you know.
Doesn't
It's supposed to be
spoil.
like their version of hack, but it's much tastier and lasts pretty much forever. Yeah.
Yes. And let's see. Deleted scenes. JPRPH1 Madden, welcome. Jessica Hardo, welcome. Let me see. Enigma Severus, welcome. JPRPH1, Geek Flag with Nate Knows, welcome. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. Yes, do this, that people.
Absolutely.
Recently celebrated my birthday with friends. Nothing bunt cakes and pina coladas. I am truly blessed. Everybody loves a good bunt cake, right?
Yeah, actually, that it's. I remember my mom used to make those a lot. Pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. ussarn, welcome. Enigma Severus, welcome. And Tree Rock Creations, welcome. Brought to you by Deleted Scenes. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
D Penzak. Oh, here we are.
I want to thank RubyHoove for the gifted membership. And I that you are doing well, that your sister is doing well, that the Mister is doing well. I've missed you, seen you here and there on Culture Casino and some of the other chats. So I just hope that you're doing well. And I want to thank Geek Flag with Nate Knows for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. What's up, old farts? And the lovely Netter. There you go. There you go.
I'm feeling like it lately. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in wrestling when it's like tap out and the guys had enough, tap out,
Yes,
tap
I
out.
do.
I'm
I
feeling like
absolutely
tapping
do.
out with modern culture. I feel like
I
it's
feel that way
breaking
too.
me.
Yes, I'm
I'm I'm
there. I'm with you.
I'm like Picard when he was being in that torture scene with the Cardassian, or Sheridan. Remember Sheridan? Both
Yep.
Babylon 5 and Star Trek: The Next Generation had great torture episodes. Did you notice that?
Yeah, you're
You didn't
kind
like
of
the
right
Babylon one
on
as
that.
much, did
Yeah,
you? Okay.
yeah, you're kind of right on that. That is true. There are four lights.
Well, in the Babylon 5 one, there was the Drazi that the humans brought out, and Captain Sharon's like, the Drazi are a proud race, a strong race. Don't give in to them. And they're like, for the first time, I'm afraid, because the Drazi don't get afraid, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then he's in the room, and they drag the Drazi out of there, and then you hear this scream in the background, and the light conquers down and back on again. Like,
Yeah,
what did they do to the Drazi?
exactly.
The evil corrupt Earth government at the time on that show.
Well, it's without getting too into the research I've been doing, I have looked into uh, augmented interview methods that have been used by the allegedly used by the U.S. government, and what I found fascinating, a little bit frightening, is how much they do that is more psychological than physical. implying what could happen to you or what is happening to one of your compatriots.
That's weird. Star
Yes.
Trek did the torture episode from the perspective of someone being tortured by an enemy government, like maybe a certain German group in World War II or a certain Cold War group. But on Babylon 5, that's really the Earth Federation. Where the Earth that's the United States, basically.
Exactly. And I want to do another rewatch of this sometime. I bet Netter would be all for it too. I want to do a rewatch of the Thomas Jane Punisher.
Yes.
There's this great scene where he's got this guy strung up, and he's going to, in quotes, torture him, and he's got like this hot poker or whatever.
So hot, it fries your pain.
It's so hot that it feels cold, and so he turns him towards his back and makes like he's gonna hit him with the hot poker, but he hits him with a popsicle. And the guy's like, okay, I'll talk.
I loved it after he finishes talking, and then he shoves the popsicle in his mouth.
Shoves the popsicle in his mouth. Yeah, exactly.
But that was just as effective as using the hot
because what is pain? Pain is what's going on in your head, right? Because let's face it, if I do damage to the body, you might feel that as pain, or if the nerves are black, you won't feel that at all. It's all what is going on in the brain. And sometimes you can feel pain when nothing is happening because you believe you should aim. That's the whole mind over matter concept.
Yes. All right.
I think I've incriminated myself too much already tonight. Maybe we should move on.
Move on to our presentation. Bring it up.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. There we go.
We had a very interesting topic Friday. The soaps. Who knew that baby switching happens so often?
Well, the baby you brought home was someone else's. Too bad.
So we always talk about the good old days. Tonight's good old days is Hogan's Heroes.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Do you know nothing about Hogan's Heroes?
No, obviously not. I'm quoting from it.
Oh, I see. Okay. This, oddly enough, I'm probably the least knowledgeable of the three of us about this show, but Netter, if you feel like chiming in, you may. I did watch a couple episodes before the stream tonight. I watched the premiere episode, which the first season was black and white. I didn't know that. Yeah. And then they went on to color later on. Both the black and white and color episodes look great. I mean, I'll say this, for television productions back in the day, they really kind of go to the nines on at least making sure everything looked good. I mean, it wasn't quite what the movie industry was. I guess they were competing with movies, so in a way. But so here we have. So
in that picture, the previous picture that you had up.
I'll bring up the previous picture.
Yeah, bring up the previous picture. You have that British officer on the left-hand side. That was a Colonel Peter. What name? Colonel something or other.
Hold on, the name.
Colonel Flink.
No. The British officer on the left.
Kirk.
No, it was like Peter something. Peter Newkirk? Peter Newkirk.
Yes.
Played by Richard Dawson. Those of you that were fans of The Family Feud. That was the host that used to go around and kiss all the women.
Richard Dawson as British Royal Air Force Corporal Newkirk, the group's comm man, magician, pickpocket, card sharp, forger, bookie, tailor, lockpicker, and safecracker. That's a lot of skills.
Yep.
I found it interesting how like everybody is in here. There's a French corporal that got stuck in there too.
Mm-hmm.
I assume he was part of the resistance, and then it's like it's not just American soldiers in there. It was other people.
No. They were allied, but yeah, Corporal Louis Lebeau. That's right. And let's see, who else do we have there? Is that I believe that is Staff Sergeant James Kinchlow? Is that who? Yep. We'll talk more about him a bit later.
Staff Kinchlow. Yes, I think so. Sorry, I had this all up. Yeah, Kinchlow, U.S. Staff Sergeant James Kinchlow, and there was also a U.S. Sergeant Andrew Carter, a volunteer, who was an expert in this. Kenneth Washington, a U.S. Sergeant Richard
But I think most importantly, right there, just right of center there, is Bob Crane, who played
Bob Crane.
Colonel Robert E. Hogan. That was the main character of the series.
Big deal career move for Bob Crane, who had been in radio, if I'm following the movie Autofocus, which I'll talk slightly about after this. But it's a major hit, and I think people were unsure about it because, I mean, I wasn't there at the time, so I can't tell, but I always had the impression like you're making a comedy out of something that's not really comical. You have American soldiers in a German prison camp during World War II, right?
Right.
I mean, this is
Right.
probably the stuff of nightmares more than comedy, but I think it works. It's basically he's always getting one over on his captors, right?
Exactly. And this was another example of people that would get bent out of shape that weren't directly involved, right? So everybody that I knew from my grandparents' generation that served in World War II loved this show. They loved it. They thought it was great. It's really hard for you to be somebody who's like, oh yeah, this is distasteful. What? Yeah, did you serve? Were you over there? Were you in a prisoner? Okay, then maybe just relax. Like my Uncle Ralph. Now, he wasn't in a German prisoner of war camp. He was in a Japanese prisoner of war camp.
Oh, yikes.
And it was yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories from guys in the European theater that served that were in prison camps. There were, let's just put it this way, there were different prison camps that the Germans kept, and it depended on whether you were an officer or an enlisted man, how you were treated. There was differences, let's put it that way. But if you were over, in the Pacific, there was no positives to the prisoner of war camp.
There
have
been movies about it. One that comes to mind was Broken. I don't know if you've heard of that. Angelina Jolie directed it. That's about a Japanese prisoner of war camp. And
I have not. I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, the guy, he was an Italian American. I think he had done stuff for us in the Olympics before he had to go to World War II. And then it shows how he had kind of did a lot for, he kind of, he did a lot. The family was very proud of him for what he did in the Olympics, but then he had to go to war, and just the horrors he had after he got captured by Japanese during World War II. It was not pretty. And I had learned in history class from what they had told me was that for a Japanese, you don't surrender, you don't get captured, you fight until you die. And I think that probably played into how they treated the soldiers of captured enemies.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
Kind of a Klingon view of things, actually. If you think
Rosefire makes a great. Well, yeah, and that's definitely where a lot of the inspiration taken from. Rosefire makes a great point. The running gag is that Hogan and his crew could escape at any time. They chose to stay in Stalag 13 to run secret operations right under their captors' noses.
Yes.
Now, what makes this, some of they say some of the funniest jokes are funny because they're true, right? And a lot of the humor in Hogan's is not because they were true literally, but because they were inspired by some true events, sometimes very obliquely, So yes, there was a lot of guys that when they got captured, they were still on duty. If I'm a prisoner, I'm still a soldier. I'm still fighting for the war effort, and I'm going to find ways to continue to tort my country. You were obliged to try to escape, to get back to, active duty. But barring that, if there was something you could do to sabotage the enemy, you were obliged to do that. And it's interesting because, yes, this show's whole function was we could do just about anything we want. How can we best serve the war effort? I think we should just stay here and F with these guys.
And that's basically what the show's about. They have all sorts
Yes.
of things rigged up. They're hearing conversations by
Yeah.
Colonel Klink, I believe
Yeah.
his name was, and it is just one of the classic sitcoms from
Well,
what was it,
and-
late
and-
60s, early 70s. Yeah.
Exactly, and of course, yes, Sergeant Schultz, who I know nothing. He was the epitome of the officer who had served in World War I. Now it's World War II. He's a little battle weary.
Yes.
Maybe he doesn't 100% agree with the Fuhrer, and he just wants to lay low. So when something comes up that would cause him to have to get involved, I don't want to see this. I don't want to know about it.
Yes.
I just want to go back to what I was doing,
Yeah, he wants to just live out the war in peace. I'm stuck here. I have to do this.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Don't get me involved. I want to survive this and go home.
Exactly. And honestly, as the war went on, more and more people were like that on all sides.
And the only reason that Hogan stayed around with his crew is because the longer they stayed around, Colonel Klink, who was pretty much an idiot, the more information they got that they were able then to send to other allies.
Exactly right. Had a good thing going, so they made the most of it.
He's always being threatened that he'll be sent to the Russian front, right? That's always the thing.
Right.
That's always the thing on Robin Hood too, where we're going to send you to the front lines in Normandy,
Right. Which is a little, it's slightly apocryphal because that joke works because we have history to look back on and know how bad the Russian front was. At the time, they would have thought nothing of it. It's just the same as anything else, right? They had no way to know how bad it was on the Russian front.
And Sergeant Schultz was easily bribed with food. Since LeBeau was a chef,
yes,
it was so easy to bribe him with food.
Like cookies.
Or schnitzel.
Oh, schnitzel. I've never
welcome,
had...
Hart King, to see you. You've never had schnitzel?
I haven't, and I probably should try it. Is it like veal parmesan without the parmesan?
Not really.
Okay. Because I looked at it, I'm like, oh, is that like veal parmesan? Because it's breaded, right? And I've never had it before. I've had other German food. Funny, for considering my ancestry, I should have had schnitzel at this point in my life,
we are... So keep in mind, too, that Netter and I, living in the Chicago area, we are like a half hour away from the Wisconsin border, where there is a ton of German ethnic enclaves there, partly because of World War II, without getting too far off into that history. But they've got some of the best German restaurants, and some of those have moved down to the Chicago area. And there's one that I don't think is still there. But when I was growing up, there was this restaurant on a major thoroughfare in Broadview that had incredibly good German food, and that's where I learned, most of the German. And there's a video I saw online too. A German expat living in Florida went to that area of Disney World that's got international restaurants.
Yes.
And she was taking video of herself and her husband at the German restaurant, whatever it's called, and evaluating how authentic it was, how authentic the food was, how authentic the stage show was and stuff. Kind of a mixed bag. Some of it she was surprised by, some of it she was like, yeah, this is American.
It's probably a mix. It's probably a mix, because I know the idea behind Epcot was the countries were actually supposed to be in charge of those pavilions. So, like, the German government should have had some involvement in how that pavilion was run. At least, maybe I'm mistaken on that, but that was always my impression. And or maybe Oh no, maybe Disney runs them, but they put up the funding for them. Maybe that's what happened. And they often employed people from those countries in those pavilions.
Right.
You go to the Japanese pavilion, you'll have Japanese people working there from Japan.
And I've talked to people at we have a lot of great Japanese restaurants here too, and they'll all say the same thing. Yeah, we know what's authentic. We also know when to be a little bit less authentic to cater to the local expectations too.
It's like, what's authentic? Biscuits and gravy. That'd be the American cuisine, right? So I'm just
unfortunately, yes, probably true.
All right. Moving on to, anyway, there's the cast. There were some nice looking ladies on the show. Is
that Sigrid Valdez? Fraulein Hilda?
I think so, yes.
On the left there? Yeah.
Yeah. So there she is. And I know that Bob Crane ended up marrying one of the actresses playing one of the German girls, but it looks like a great sitcom. You can learn about it more if you so choose. Oh wait, there you go. I like that picture too. Right, that's that's the three of them again. But it is brought up in the movie Autofocus. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing up this movie. During the Talk Focus Heroes. Have you seen this movie?
I have not. No.
It's the Bob Crane story. It goes.
Oh, that's a tough story. He's got he's got a very let's just say colorful life.
We'll leave it at that. And William Dafoe's in this movie as his friend John Carpenter, not the John Carpenter that made Halloween. Right. And Greg Kinnear plays him in the movie version, plays Bob Crane. But I did want to show kind of that's him in the movie as Bob Crane on the set of Hogan's Heroes. They actually explain how he got the script, and of course he was like everybody else. It's like, oh, the show about the funny group or something, because he was making a thing like, this is what I'm being offered, because he did radio. He was a radio host, but he wanted to get into Hollywood acting, and his agent finally brought him the script for Hogan's Heroes, but he was trepidatious when he took it. It's actually interesting. They said that he actually kept his radio job and shot the show because he wanted to make sure the show was going to be a hit before he quit his other job. So he was kind of pulling double duty.
There's actually a great deal of wisdom there. I do not fault him in the slightest. That's actually a very sharp thing to do.
Yeah, but it's an interesting movie. It's based on a book too, and of course, unfortunately, he did get murdered.
Yes, he did.
Later on, and it's a big conjunction as to who did. And I know the movie almost asserts it was John Carpenter, but then there's a wonderful documentary on the DVD where it goes into all this other stuff, and you're realizing, well, no, it may not have been him, because there's no real evidence. You know how you often say about the court, and he didn't get charged with it, but I'm sorry, brought us into a dark place when I wrote on
back in the day, after when he had passed away, there was a lot of rumors and speculation going around about what happened. One of the stories I heard, I don't know if this is true or whatever, but if you believe in this sort of thing, it could be. Apparently, at one point he was in Hawaii filming, and supposedly when you go to Hawaii, you're supposed to pay homage to certain gods while you're there. It's respectful, and he didn't do that. Apparently, he disrespected the gods. So people thought that he was murdered because he disrespected the gods. That's a story I heard.
Interesting thought.
He was
the
cursed.
Horror King brings up a brilliant question. He says, I have a question for anyone who is from America. Why do you guys call scones a biscuit? Interestingly, as a result, we call biscuits cookies. So,
right.
When you change one thing, you've got to change another.
Let me explain it to our friend from Ireland here. There's actually a wonderful, if you ever have a time, I forget, I think it's Jolly is the name of the YouTube channel, and they have British schoolboys trying biscuits and gravy, and they don't, and they look at the biscuit. This is not a biscuit. This is a scone, and they said this is a biscuit. And they're like grabbing into I guess the cookies they serve over there. Here's what it is. I believe a biscuit is a of bread. Like the British schoolboy said, oh, it's like a loaf of bread, but kind of different. That's what they saw it as. I just don't think it evolved in Europe. It must have come about in the United States because of the rough frontier terrain, maybe.
Yeah, don't. And honestly,
I
to
don't
be
know.
honest with you,
Okay, yeah.
Scone and Southern Biscuits, though similar, are a bit different. So
yeah, they have like the
I
shape.
do.
The Southern Biscuit has like a shape of a scone, or at least something, but it's not quite the same. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's much more just a lump of dough that is baked or fried, whereas a scone actually can end up being sweet. It can be oftentimes served as a dessert or whatever. So there are some differences even in how it's shared. I would really recommend to you a channel called Lost in the Pond. It's at Lost in the Pond here on YouTube. A bloke by the name of Lawrence, who emigrated to the Chicagoland area. He lives real close to us from the UK, and he jokes about the things that are different between living in. I think based on his accent, I think he's fairly London area, a little bit more northern, but he's got some, and he's got that British wit about it. How he makes fun of the differences. Thank you so much, CluuStudio. $10. He says, "Salute, Troy, Boomer, and Netter." Thank you so much for the support, my friend.
Yeah, but someday you'll watch autofocus on one of your streams, but it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. It gets rough toward the end too, but again, this is an instance over I give the credits whoever put it out on DVD. They gave a very long. There was a rather lengthy documentary about what also happened to Bob Crane, and the thesis of the documentary was actually different than the movie. Whereas the documentary puts out there were a number of people who probably wanted Bob Crane dead, not just Trumpeter. Okay, so it was interesting. So, but didn't mean to put a damper by bringing up this. Hogan's Hero is still a classic show. You can catch it on Paramount Plus, or you could catch it on Tubi and not have to pay anything.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
It's worth checking out. Absolutely.
Here we get into the news, but the reason I brought up Hogan's Heroes tonight was our first death tonight. Is the last surviving cast member Hogan's Heroes passes away at 89.
Yep. Interestingly, that picture doesn't even have him in it.
Of course not. Okay, but anyway, Kenneth Washington, best known for starring on CBS's classic sitcom Hogan's Heroes, passed away on July 18th. At the time of his death, the late actor was 89 years old. I feel bad now. I should have included a picture of him. Born on October 19th, 1935, Washington first entered the entertainment industry in the mid-1950s. Though he occasionally ventured into film roles like Jerry Lee Lewis' comedy Hook, Line, and Sinker or 1973's Westworld, the actor would become more readily known for his roles on television, including guest appearances in Star Trek, Petticoat Junction, and I Dream of Jeannie. Was everybody on Star Trek at some point?
Well, especially that original series, because they drew from the same what do you call it?
Cast of actors. Plus,
yeah, exactly.
I forget that back in the day, typically, at least in the United States, television actors and movie actors, it wasn't vice versa like it is today, where you'll have a movie actor on a TV show. Back then, you're either a television actor or you were a movie actor. You could be a television actor and move on to movies, or you could be a movie actor down in your luck and have to settle for television, right? That's usually what happens.
True.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes. But you're doing both at the same time. But after making his television debut on the family drama Daktari, Washington went to make 8 appearances as police officer Miller in the NBC police drama Adam 12. He was cast as the lead role in CBS's Hogan's Heroes, a fan favorite sitcom following a group of WW2 allied POWs in an Axis prison camp. In the comics, Washington portrayed the character of Sergeant Richard Baker, succeeding Staff Sergeant James Kinchlow's place after actor Ivan Dixon left the series following its 5th season. Baker acted as the main underground radio operator of the camp and Colonel Robert Hogan's de facto second in command. Sadly, Washington's role in the series would only last for a single year, with CBS electing to cancel Heroes after its 6th season aired on the network. 6 seasons is a good run, though.
It sure is. Yes, particularly back then. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's sad it got canceled, but that's the type of show that couldn't have lasted that far into the 70s anyway. That's That's more like a 60s sitcom. So, following this time in the series, Washington continued to work on television and guest starring episodes of Police Story, The Rockford Files, and A Different World before his return in 1989. Police Story. And I confused that with Police Squad. Sorry. Okay. I was going to get excited. So rest in peace, and I'm sorry I didn't have your picture up here.
For those of you that are Star Trek fans as well, he played Watkins in the episode That Which Survives. You'll remember That Which Survives as the episode that featured Lee Merriweather as the holographic representation of the computer of that planet.
And Big Al had put in the chat, I didn't hear anyone say it, that Sigrid Valdez was
the one that was married
Bob
to
Crane.
Bob Crane, right? Exactly.
And hello, Tree Rock Creations.
Yeah. Oh, welcome. Other celebrity deaths this week. We have Chuck Mangione. I believe I'm saying that right.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Prolific composer and musician who released 30 albums in his career, died July 2nd. A statement from his family confirmed he was 84. The family of Chuck Mangione is deeply saddened to share that Chuck peacefully passed away in his sleep at his home in Rochester, New York on July 22nd, 2025, said the statement shared July 24th with the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, part of the USA Today network. A celebrated composer and virtuoso flugelhorn and trumpet player, Mangione began taking music lessons at age 8 and played in a jazz combo with his pianist brother Gape during his high school years. He and Gap were both heavily inspired by Dizzy Gillespie, a family friend and jazz great, whom their father adored. Gillespie would join the Mangiones for dinner whenever he was in town and became one of Mangione's biggest influences. Gillespie was so impressed by Mangione's musical prowess that he gave him one of his trademark upswept trumpets. And let me see, Mangione went on to study at the Eastman School of Music and graduated in 1963 with a bachelor's degree in music education. He later returned and directed the school's jazz ensemble. His 1977 single "Feels So Good" off an album of the same name reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The album peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Albums chart in 1978, bested only by Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. "Feels So Good" also became a bit on TV's animated King of the Hill, where it was frequently referenced, with Mangione himself nabbing a recurring voice acting role. So I think many of you may know his musical work actually from King of the Hill.
Yep.
But yeah. Even
you might also.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I thought you were done with the article.
No, I'm pretty much done. Yeah.
Yeah. Those of you that remember the 19. Well, there aren't many people here that would remember the 76 Summer Olympics in Montreal. He had a composition called "Chase the Clouds Away," which was pretty big too. And 1980, he did a composition for the Winter Olympics, "Give It All You Got." Obviously, he was an Italian-American, so my family really liked him. My mom and my uncle had a lot of his albums. My grandfather loved him. You mentioned that he had done performances with Dizzy Gillespie, also with Miles Davis.
Oh, wow, that's a big deal.
Those of you that were jazz fans, I was a big fan of his. Honestly, "Feels So Good" is obviously the first one you think of, but there's a lot of what I would call incidental music in the soundtrack of my life that were Chuck Mangione. I remember just listening to those in the summers when I was at my uncle's marina. I just put on those albums and listened to them.
Yeah, so peace. And like I said, his music will live on. Speaking of, well, I was going to say speaking of music, but that's not the next article. Never mind. Hulk Hogan dies. Did you hear about this?
I did. Yeah. In fact, just to be fair to all of you that contribute to Geeky Geezers, we got flooded so much with some of these in remembrances that I don't know who. I mean, it was like 5 different people told me about Hulk Hogan, so we didn't accredit anyone specifically in the notes on this.
Plus, I was going to send it to you when I got off work too. I was like, oh, but I was at work, and I was like, okay, I heard about it there. This is a bit of a shocker. Yeah. Of course, I grew up with Hogan like everybody else living in the 80s
Right.
did. Even if you weren't a wrestling fan, you knew of Hulk Hogan. But Hulk Hogan, the star who took professional wrestling to the national mainstream and became the biggest money-making draw in the history of the industry, died Thursday at the age of 71, Florida police and the WWE said. In Clearwater, Florida, authorities responded to a call Thursday morning about a cardiac arrest. Hogan was pronounced dead at a hospital. Police said in a statement on Facebook there were no signs of foul play or suspicious activity. Major Nate Burnside told reporters. WWE posted a note on X saying it was saddened to learn that the WWE Hall of Famer died. One of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 80s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. It said, I don't like faceless organization. I wish it was just a person saying this who worked at the organization. It's never mind. Sorry, I'll get off that tangent there. Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, if I said that right, had been struggling with several health issues in recent years, including a problematic lingering back injury from his wrestling days. Hogan had not wrestled since 2012, but had been in the news recently as a founder of Real American Freestyle Wrestling Promotion and the owner of an upcoming New York City bar opposite Madison Square Garden, the site of many of his big matches. In 1985, Hogan headlined the first WrestleMania, teaming up with 1980 star Mr. T to take on Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. WrestleMania 1 at MSG drew an audience of on closed circuit television, and it was credited with taking professional wrestling, specifically the then WWF, into the national zeitgeist. Hogan's grudge match with Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 took the wrestling business and Hogan's career to new heights. Around 80,000 people filled the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan for the match. The rematch several months later on free-to-air NBC drew 33 million viewers. Hogan was in the main event of 7 of the first 8 WrestleMania cards. He was the face and hero of the wrestling world, crossing over into mainstream with tons of appearances on television talk shows. I think he was on Johnny Carson once. Remember, he was talking about
he was on TV so much, in so many guest appearances as himself. I mean, he was in an episode of The Love Boat. I remember playing himself. He was in the soap opera Search for Tomorrow, playing himself. You know, so he was constantly recurring. He was in an episode of the A-Team playing himself.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that was the point of the A-Team, though. People, the best and the brightest from the United.
Right.
Okay, the third Rocky film where he took on he was in the third Rocky where he took on the title character.
Yes, he was. That's right.
And,
that famous scene of him the exhibition bout where Rocky goes nose to chest, and he looks up and he's like, "This guy's gonna kill me." It's just an exhibition. You just yeah. Well, nobody told Hulk Hogan that it was an exhibition match. I don't think he played himself though in Rocky 3. Unlike all the other roles, he was playing a fictitious wrestler character in that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. Let me see though. In 1996, with interest in him as a hero waning, Hogan pulled off the biggest heel turn in wrestling history. Second act, working with WWE competitor World Championship Wrestling, Hogan became a bad guy, leading a dastardly group of invaders called the New World Order. The heel turn, heel is wrestling, I think, for like the villain characters in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a soap opera, let's be honest, in a way. 29 years ago this summer, capturing the public interest in a way that wrestling had not since WrestleMania 1, the NWO with Hollywood Hulk Hogan as the vicious frontman wearing black and white rather than his trademark red and yellow breathed new life into the wrestling industry during the counterculture 1990s. When the audience demanded a darker, more adult product, Hogan was up to the challenge, helping WCW beat WWF in television ratings for 83 straight weeks beginning in 1996. I remember those days. I had just started getting into wrestling when Hogan left. And basically at that point, WWF was sort of in the doldrums. They lost a lot of their big talent to this competing wrestling agency that I think was started by Ted Turner.
Yeah.
And they were having to start over. But then I got to see the birth and the blossoming of what we call in the 90s and early 2000s, the Attitude Era, which I'm going to have to talk about on another stream.
Oh, yeah.
But
Curtis makes a great point that
yeah.
I hadn't considered. Little coincidence. The list of Hogan's heroes and Hulk Hogan himself. Wow, that is a coincidence.
Yeah. That's interesting. I did not know that. Okay. Let me go into... Sorry, where was I? Okay, Hogan returned to WWE in 2002 to face The Rock at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto. His character was the NWO bad guy version, but more than 68,000 in attendance were not interested in booing Hogan. They cheered him over the then WWE's biggest good guy, forcing Hogan to return home to Florida that weekend to pick up his old red and yellow shirts and wrestling trunks. I watched that live, if I can go into detail on this. And it was Hogan's coming out as the villain. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was almost at his height of popularity at that point, because he started out as a heel too, but he became a good guy as time went on, and he was a very popular wrestler during the Attitude. And then Hogan shows up, and the thing is, people can't boo Hogan. They couldn't do it. So it's like you have these two wrestling greats, finally, of the new generation, of the old generation, having the match. And when the match was over, they shook hands in good sportsmanship and brought Dwayne The Rock Johnson beat him. But it was a good thing. It was mutual respect, and it was a nice moment.
That's really cool. Yeah,
it was a very nice moment. It was like a passing of the torch, basically. That's what it was. Yeah.
I do want to acknowledge the Horror King making a point that a lot of people came out online saying negative things about him. This is the era we live in, the coarsening of our society. If you don't agree with someone's politics or you didn't like some opinion about something, it seems to embolden people to be absolutely inhuman monsters when someone passes. It was always taught to me and all previous generations, you never speak ill of the dead, and if you didn't like them, you just shut your damn mouth.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have generations now that have not learned that lesson, and they just demonstrate what kind of people they are.
Yeah, so President Donald Trump was among the other notable figures. Post-reaction, Hogan gave a speech at the Republican National Convention last July to support Trump's presidential campaign. We lost a great friend today. The Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, was a MAGA all the way, strong, tough, smart, with the big... He gave an absolutely electric speech at the Republican National Convention. That was one of the highlights of the entire week. Trump posted on Truth Social. He entertained fans from all around the world, and the cultural impact he had was massive. To his wife, Sky, and family, we give our wishes and love. Hulk Hogan will be greatly missed. Some of this hate comes from... I'm going to bring up this last part of this thing, because unfortunately this is part of his story. But after his wrestling career concluded, Hogan had been embroiled in a controversy in 2015. Video recordings of him using I want to say the N-word, if that's okay, YouTube, I'm not okay, and referring to himself as racist to a point, leaked. WWE terminated his Legends contract at the time, though it brought him back 3 years later as an ambassador with infrequent television appearances. Hogan appeared in WWE's Netflix debut show in January to promote his new Real American Beer, but was booed by fans in Los Angeles. So that's interesting. And then tape featuring Hogan was leaked by the website Gawker. I believe these comments came from this same tape that got released. And unfortunately, this is in my area of Florida. We had a shock jock called Bubba the Love Sponge, and he was supposedly a big Hogan fan. And I guess when Hogan was down in the dumps from his divorce, he this is a family show. He let him have some alone time with his wife. I'll put it to that way. And then but he was recording the whole thing, and I think it was during then that Hogan said something about like he didn't approve his daughter's dating choice, and I'm not excusing what Hogan said, but at the same time, he had no idea camera was on him either. And this led to a big thing with Gawker. I think he finally sued Gawker and was awarded $115 million because of that. Because Gawker was a disgusting website too. But at the same time, it's hold on. Someone sent something.
Yep. Clue was saying the same people that were disrespectful of Hulk chimp out if their favorite person's death was disrespect. Yeah, they're absolute hypocrites, right? You know.
And it's a shame that his career took a turn. I think he got estranged from his kids over the whole thing. It was unfortunately, but like I said, we did see him last summer during the Republican National Convention. He did come out, and now he's passed on. And he was a wrestling legend. He was wrestling, and like I said, though, oddly enough, he was not necessarily part of my growing up with wrestling, because, like I said, I started tuning into the WWF when he had left with a lot of the other wrestlers. Yeah,
I was never a huge wrestling fan, although I did go to some exhibition wrestling matches with my father and my dad. So we're talking old time wrestlers, you know.
Oh, even before that, like Bob Backlund.
Oh yeah. Like before Hulk Hogan, before The Rock, any of that. In fact, the generation of Dwayne Johnson's father as wrestlers. But I did obviously know the pop cultural icon of Hulk Hogan. Going back to what Clue was saying too, it's I have seen too many people that even turn on close family members, their parents, if they have differing political views. It is ridiculous to the point of being inhuman, and I'm really just kind of sick of it, to be honest with you. Welcome, Andrea Black. Good to see you. So glad you're here.
All right, moving on. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, and moving on to another huge celebrity death this week. Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Dead at 76. Ozzy Osbourne, the hell-raising frontman of Black Sabbath and reality TV star, died Tuesday. His family shared. He was 76. It is with more sadness than mere words can be that we would have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. Osbourne's family said in a statement to CNN he was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. No details surrounding cause of death were immediately available. The news comes just weeks after Osbourne performed with Black Sabbath in his hometown of Birmingham, England, where he reunited with bandmates including bassist Geezer Butler, drummer Bill Ward, and guitarist Tony. The show was a concert event called Back to the Beginning and marked Black Sabbath's first performance in 2 decades. It was billed as Osbourne's final bow, according to Black Sabbath's official website. Famed for his outrageous antics on stage, including once biting the head off of a bat and throwing the raw meat onto concertgoers, along with repeated bouts of alcohol and substance abuse, Osbourne was respected by the rock establishment and reviled by the religious right, who believed him to be a devil worshiper. He had a second career in life playing himself in the popular reality TV show The Osbournes, a fly-on-the-wall family formula later maximized by the Kardashians. You remember The Osbournes show? I remember that
I did. Yeah, I saw some episodes.
I kept thinking there's son that remember the son? And I'm like, there's that boy ain't right. That's all I kept thinking about him on that show. They did a spoof episode at the end where it looked like the son was messed up and sat on the dog and killed the dog, and then like somebody killed Minnie and like the footage and no one's coming forward. Then he turns out it was all BS they did for that episode, making you think that's what it was. But let me see. Godfather of heavy metal, Black Sabbath's loud gloom music, the satanic aura conjured by the use of tritone, the regular interval music associated with the devil since the Middle Ages, was immediately popular. The group's second album, Paranoid, released in 1971, shot to #1 in the UK album chart. Black Sabbath did repeat that feat again until the release of their album 13 in 2013. Often referred to as the Godfather of heavy metal, Osbourne preferred his other title, the Prince of Darkness, which he used on his Twitter account. Oh, that was funny on the Osbournes Christmas special when they were saying, hey, we want you to sing Winter Wonderland, but like with your mush mouth where we can't understand what you're saying, you know, say like Gabby Gooby, you know, say it like that.
Yeah.
And like he was going along with it, and then he gets all angry and he says, what is, I'm the effing Prince of Darkness. And he's like,
yeah.
I've never ever been able to attach myself to the word heavy metal as no musical connotations, Osbourne told CNN in his 2013 interview. It was heavy metal If it was heavy rock, I could get that, but the 70s was kind of like a bluesy thing. The kind of a bubblegum frosted hair, multicolored clothes in the 90s was kind of grungy. Osbourne was fired from Black Sabbath in 1979 after the group had already made 8 albums together over his alcohol and drug use. He went on to have a successful solo career, releasing 11 more albums before getting back together with the group in 1997. The bat-biting incident occurred in Osbourne's show at Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa on January 20th, 1982 on his Diary of a Madman tour. He later claimed he thought the bat was made of rubber. It was that stunt that followed him. Every time I do an interview, they ask me, what do bats taste like, Ozzy? Like my mother-in-law's cooking, he told NBC's Today Show in 1987. That's funny. It's funny. I would have done. It's funny. I would have done Black Sabbath, the good old days. But if unfortunately, all my Black Sabbath music I have is actually the Dio years. So.
Oh gosh.
So it's the guy that replaced him. But funny how they always accuse the religion, but it was the left that put out the warning labels of records. You get it from both sides.
Yeah, it's and Surreality says, the same nitwit saying Ozzy Osbourne was racist too. Bollocks. Look, I think at this point, I think I got to bring this. Someone sing along with me. Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. Doesn't mean we go around committing hate crimes. Look around and you will find no one's really colorblind. Maybe it's a fact we all should face. Everyone makes judgments based on race.
What is that from?
Avenue Q.
Oh, Avenue Q. I need to watch Avenue. That's a play. That's a famous play. But Ozzy Osbourne consumes more drugs in some small countries, and he still lived to be 76.
That might be why he lived as long as he did. He was kind of preserved.
Yeah. But yeah. So moving on to.
This one was a huge shock. Not good.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, dead at 54.
Very, very sad.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was teenage son Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, was central to cultural phenomena that helped define the 1980s, died at 54 in an accidental drowning in Costa Rica. Authorities there said Monday. So this was just an accident. That's what it sounds like happened.
It absolutely was. It was a terrible, tragic accident.
That happens sometimes with those waves. One of the actresses on Glee, that happened to her. A wave got her and she was done.
Yep.
It's sad. I don't even know if that's something you can actually prepare for. It just happens. Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Department said Warner drowned Sunday afternoon on Costa Rica's Caribbean coast. He was swimming at Playa Cocles in Limon province when a current pulled him deeper into the ocean. He was rescued by people on the beach. The department's initial report said first responders from Costa Rica found him without vital signs, and he was taken to the morgue. Oh, that's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Warner created many TV moments etched in memories of Generation X children and their parents, including a pilot. Yes, us. Thank you for acknowledging us. What is this? Including a pilot episode argument with Cosby about grades and careers, and another episode where Theo tries in vain to hide his ear piercing from his dad. I remember that episode.
Right. Yep.
Theo was... the 80s. Oh, how dare you pierce your ear? Like that's the worst thing he could do, right? Or something. And didn't he do it himself, or he had a friend do it? Is that what happened?
I don't remember.
And I think his dad was a doctor, so like it's getting infected. So I think he eventually has to go to his dad.
Yeah.
Theo was the only son among 4 daughters, and also the Cosby's Cliff Huxtable and Felicia Rashad's Claire Huxtable on the NBC sitcom, and he would be one of the prime representations of American teenage life and black boyhood on a show that was most popular in America for much of its run from 1984 to 1992. Warner worked for more than 40 years as an actor and director, also starring in the sitcoms Malcolm and Eddie and Read Between the Lines, and in the medical drama The Resident. His final credits and TV guest roles, including a dramatic 4-episode arc last year on the network procedural 911, where he played a nurse who was a long-term survivor of a terrible fire. I grew up with a maniacal obsession with not wanting to be one of those "Where Are They Now" kids, Warner told the Associated Press in 2020. I feel very blessed to be able to have all of these avenues of expression, to be where I am now, and finally at a place where I can let go of all that worry about having a life after Cosby. He played Theo Huxtable for 8 seasons, appeared in each of the 197 episodes of The Cosby Show, and earned an Emmy nomination for supporting actor in a comedy in 1986. Actor Viola Davis was among those giving tribute Monday. Theo was our son, our brother, our friend. He was absolutely so familiar, and we rejoiced at how TV got right, the Oscar winner said on Instagram, but Malcolm got it right. We reveled in your life and are gutted by this loss. I think that says it all.
So Geek Flag points out that it was his friend Cockroach who pierced his ear.
Yes.
And Andrea Black, and I know this is a symptom of the fact that you only have so many characters that you can get in there. She's quoting from Bill Cosby special himself about how teenagers have brain damage. You ask them why they did something. I don't know. And what, because is on sides, all here there was no hair. It was a reverse mohawk. Why did you do that? I don't know. Was your head not with you all day? How do you not know? And it was that same. A lot of the jokes that he did in that special were recycled into the show, the Bill Cosby show, the Cosby Show, I should say.
And yet the comic timing is was great.
Oh yeah,
in both
just perfect.
Yeah.
And that joke about the mohawk was the same joke they did with the ear. Why did you do that? I don't know. Did you not bring your head with you when you got your? Exactly.
Okay. Now, it could be that maybe some girl said, I really dig a guy with an earring or something that he was into, and that's why he did it. I don't know. I want to know how Bill Cosby feels considering how his real son was killed decades ago. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Thank CluuStudio for the $5 super chat.
Absolutely. Yeah, an article we didn't actually go with. Bill Cosby reacts to Malcolm Jamal Warner's death. Bill Cosby said that when he learned of the death of Malcolm and Jamal Warner, who played his son on The Cosby Show, he spoke with Felicia Rashad, who played the mother. We were embracing each other over the phone about a dearly beloved friend. Malcolm was always embracing relationships with everybody he worked with, Cosby told CBS Weekend News anchor Jerrica Duncan in an interview. Warner's death shocked the entertainment. Okay, and it goes into, but that's what he was saying about it. He was proud of what he had done, Cosby had said. So yeah, there is reaction from Cosby on it.
Good for him for having a career after Cosby and doing stuff behind the scenes too. And it's a loss. And I remember I got very angry years ago. It wasn't him, but it was the actor who was married to the oldest daughter on Cosby Show. And he got a job at the Trader Joe's. Look at this Cosby actor now working at Trader Joe's. You know what? It's an honest job, okay? And, maybe you hurt his residuals, too, from the show by when you trash Cosby, so nobody wants to repeat the show anymore.
He was also kind of...
Yeah.
That actor was also kind of moving away from the entertainment industry.
Nothing wrong with working at Trader Joe's, I'm just saying. It's
he
a job.
He actually that individual studied the Bible with Malcolm Jamal Warner and a buddy of mine from the local area, Fred.
Oh wow! Okay.
They were all in the same church together, and the same church. Not the Chicago church in Los Angeles before he came out to the Chicago area. So there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry that are very hostile to anybody who even mentions anything religious. So
well, good for him. And I'm sure he's in a better place now. It's just sad he got taken away from the system.
Clue. That's an excellent point too. That he never suffered from child actor syndrome, and you'll find that most of the actors that escape that are ones that kind of move away from being in entertainment, or they have a good support system around them, and not like parents and guardians that exploit them.
Yeah, the parents need to be. I mean, I like I said, I'd watched that Nickelodeon documentary last year, the 4-part series, and just some of the horror show. But yeah, parents have to be involved and have to be watching out, and some many of the parents on Nickelodeon did. They but then of course you hear there are other horrible stories. Sometimes those predators they figure ways around things. But anyway, I'm glad at least for what life he had a good one. It sounds like. Sorry. And our final death of the night, and I remember thinking his face looks so familiar. I just can't put a finger on where I've seen him. Tom Troupe, I want to say. Broadway actor and writer Tom Troupe, best known for his television appearances on Star Trek and Cheers, as well as film roles in Kelly's Heroes and My Own Private Idaho, has died. He was 97. Maybe it's Idaho I remember from. Troupe died on Sunday, July 20th in Beverly Hills, California. Home from natural causes, according to a press release. His death follows his late wife, 16 Candles actress Carol Cook, who died in 2023. Troupe got his start on Broadway in 1957's Diary of Anne Frank. The Kansas City, Missouri native also starred in a few stage productions with his wife of nearly 60 years, The Lion in Winter, Father's Day, and The Gin Game. He also co-wrote a one-man play, The Diary of a Madman. I kind of want to see that. Don't you? The Diary of a Madman? I don't know. Troupe's inventory TV credits include more than 75 appearances, including Murder, She Wrote, The Fugitive, Mission Impossible, The Wild West, Knots Landing, and Frasier. He starred as Bob Gilroy and Mary Hartman, Judge William E. Gray in Cheers, Tancred Baumgartner in ER, and Lieutenant Harold in the original Star Trek series. So this is why I bring it up. Like, if I were to see him, I wouldn't say I know him like I would know a Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, but we've seen him on so many.
Oh, I've seen him in things. Yeah, so those of you that are trying to Lieutenant Harold, where was he in Star Trek? The episode was The Arena, the one with the Gorn. He was one of the lieutenants, one of the victims, basically, of the Gorn bombing of the Federation outpost in that episode. So, thank you so much, Geek Flag with Nate Knows, saying this is the funeral show. We are losing too many. I have to agree with you. I'm afraid that's kind of true. But as I was telling Boomer over the past week, unfortunately, this is not something new. This is, you ask your parents and your grandparents, the older you get, the more people you see go. It's just a part of life. It is reality. I just feel like sadly, I feel like it's on brand for a show called Geeky Geezers that brings you the geeky news and the entertainment news to also talk about, the losses that we experience.
And they make a point that, we're losing the greats, but are we cultivating the new stars? And I don't think they are as much. It's sad.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true.
So, speaking of stars, guess who's back?
Yeah, so I saw this one, and I actually saw there's a couple of channels that did videos about this, and I'm like,
oh, they were excited.
But why though?
Okay, let me explain to you a bit of background on this. Atari, oddly enough, or whoever are calling themselves Atari now, they ain't dead. Yeah. They're still alive. They recently bought Night Dive Studios. That's that wonderful studio that does all those recreations of retro games, like those Doom games I got you, and the Quake game, and even the game. They were all Night Dive remasters. And now Atari is also releasing old hardware again. And they released the 2600 Plus a few years ago, and they released the 7800 Plus last year. Now they're doing the 2600 Plus again in a special Pac-Man console. And now and of course, the 2600 Plus and the 7800 Plus can play either 2600 cartridges or 7800 cartridges. But that's not all. They also are re-releasing cartridges that will now play on these systems again. So, in fact, theoretically, the Pac-Man cartridge they're going to release with this thing, you could theoretically take it out and probably play it on an original Atari 7800 you had back in the day, or play it on your new high definition. This is basically a high definition 7800 console. This was the Atari's attempt to compete with the NES and the Sega Master System. They failed. But it's CluuStudio gifted Troy. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Clue. Went to Danny D. So welcome to membership for a month, Danny D. And thank you so much,
And
CluuStudio,
membership
for
has its
helping
privileges.
us.
Stay tuned.
It absolutely does. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. That's right.
So this is the article now, though. Now they're releasing a classic. Okay, so this is a high definition 2600. Do you still have any of your 2600 cartridges lingering around your house?
I do not know.
Okay.
When
that's okay because they're re-release. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to go out of my way to rebuy them. I'll find an emulator or something. But when Netter and I eloped, I ended up leaving all that behind, and I'm sure my mom sold them off. Yeah,
I got you. So let me go ahead. Let me read this though. But like I said, they are re-releasing these cartridges, which is kind of fascinating that they're re-releasing these cartridges, and I'm going to get into it. They not only re-release them, but of course the Atari homebrew community, you may know of them, right? And of course they have all these ROMs online. You can download them on your computer or something. But it's working with them. They're saying, look, if you did a great version of Pac-Man for the 7800 and it never got released, we want to release it officially, licensed through Namco and release officially as on a physical cartridge. And that's what they're doing here. Let me read this. I'm babbling too much. I'm trying to get around on this. Today is clearly the day that Atari and Namco have sealed their reunion with pursed lips and probing tongues. Following the announcement of a new Namco-themed expansion for the excellent Atari 50th Anniversary Museum thing. I'll explain that in a minute. That's the next article. The original Atari, they have cut it up to unveil an extremely yellow Pac-Man edition of the Atari 2600. So, of course, if you look at this, what does this look like? It looks like an Atari 2600, but it's Pac-Man themed, right?
Right.
The original Atari.
See, that's the other thing. It not only is it looks like a 2600. It actually functions as a 7800, and and it's modified to not even really look like a 2600. It looks like a stylized 2600. So it's I don't know.
It's beautiful. Anyway, the original 2600 Plus launched in 2023 when described as a modern-day faithful recreation of the classic Atari 70s 80s console. As for the new 2600 Plus Pac-Man edition released to celebrate the character's 45th birthday, it's pretty much the same thing, featuring mod cons like HDMI output, USB power, and multiple screen resolutions. However, the Atari 2600's timeless woody hued design has been abandoned in favor of signature Pac-Man yellow. And you know what? It's pretty tasteful in its own garish way. While the body of the machine is about as Pac-Man yellow as yellow can be, the spherical chomper and his old ghost pals make it an apparently illuminated appearance on the front panel, while the back black of the upper panel is broken up with matching yellow cartridge slot knobs. Oh, I wonder if you turn it on if they glow. That'd be kind of neat on the front. The Atari 2600 Pac, more than just a console manufacturer play on rights in the machine's announcement, is a tribute to the moment home gaming truly began. By reimagining the iconic hardware in Pac-Man's unmistakable style, we're celebrating the legacy of two cultural giants who helped define a generation of play. Think about Namco and Atari. They were the two big ones back in the day.
Yeah.
If that burst of enthusiasm has you sold, you can pre-order the Atari 2600 Pac-Man edition starting July 23rd. Good luck. It's already sold out on Amazon, the pre-orders. This thing is in demand. Maybe they'll put... but they're also releasing, but get this, and if you're in the mood for more Pac-Man, you get a Pac-Man wireless joystick, which has a little Pac-Man on top of it that's yellow, but you can also get old wireless Atari joysticks in the colors of Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they are really going.
And so, Clue says, wait, it functions as a 7800? Yes. It takes 7 cartridges, and I gotta tell you, that would have been the nightmare. That would have destroyed this whole idea if it just took 2600 cartridges, because the Pac-Man cartridge for the 600 sucked.
Here's what's happening with this. This is brilliant. The Pac-Man cartridge they're shipping with this includes 2 Pac-Man games. One is the homebrewed version of it for the 7800, which it looks really good from what I can tell. It looks like a proper one of Pac-Man, and the other one is the 2600 Pac-Man.
Well, they're going to throw that in there. They're basically saying, you know what? We're throwing this in here as a lark. You can laugh at it. You can, whatever. If you have any nostalgia for it, but fine. It's there for free. But we know you really want to play a real Pac-Man game.
So they are. You can buy cartridges for these new systems too. They are being sold. New cartridges. Frenzy and Berserk got re-released, and I believe that one of them was never released on the 700. It's a homebrew that has sound and everything on it. And you can get it for this, and those are like $30. I think the Namco cartridges are going to cost $35. They come in official cardboard boxes. They come with color instruction manuals. It's like you're buying something from the 80s. So if you're a real retro, go ahead.
Welcome to the Tune the News. Welcome.
Geek Flag says I would buy this F Nintendo. We have Nintendo news later. I challenged Troy Jr. to do a game of 7800 Centipede. You know what's interesting? I don't know if they've released 7800 Centipede yet, but I'm sure they will at some point for the Atari 7800 Plus.
Almost certainly.
New cartridges, don't tease. I'm not joking, these things, they're on there. It's a pity the 7800 Plus was on sale on Amazon during their Prime days for $60. I'm now regretting not picking one up because I could get the Namco cartridges. Because it's not just Pac-Man that's getting released on this. They're also releasing Dig Dug and Galaga and Xevious. But Dig Dug and Galaga are actually did get released on the Atari 700, so it's basically those cartridges reprinted. But the Pac-Man cartridge they're releasing, it's a new port for the 7800, so it's kind of neat. It's neat. But let's say you don't want to spend all this money on the Atari 2600 Plus, even though it looks good. I mean, I don't think that's terribly expensive especially if you're an Atari enthusiast and you even have some of these cartridges. Yeah. Okay, so a while ago, Atari released this thing called the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection. It's almost like an interactive museum. You could buy it for PC and consoles, and you get to watch interviews and do all sorts of things in it. But it also contains all the Atari games, whether they be arcade, whether they be Atari computer, Atari 2600, 5200, 7800. They even had Atari Jaguar games and Lynx games in this collection. Last year, they released an expansion pack that included television games, because that was considered the rival of Atari, was the Intellivision. They even call it the first console war, and they have a bunch of Intellivision games on there. And they also released a lot of the Stern games, like Frenzy. They got released in the expansion pack. And we're getting another expansion pack, which is going to have, deleted scenes Galaga. Okay, anyway, but now we're getting another expansion pack for this, which is the Namco expansion pack. So Atari 50 Collection is getting another DLC expansion in the form of the Namco Legendary Pack DLC. No release date has been announced of the writing, but the DLC will contain an additional timeline looking at Namco's history with Atari, along multiple playable versions of Atari Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian, Dig Dug, and Xevious. You can expect a whole new load of photos and archive material, videos, and interviews, with the trailer highlighting more footage from the interview between Atari's co-founder Nolan Bushnell and current CEO Wade Rosman. 3 Atari Pac-Man games, Pac-Man 2600, 5200, and Atari 8-bit. This marks the first re-release of these games for consoles. Basically, that's the horrible Atari 2600 Pac-Man, which I think you had, right? Yes. They're going to include in that, and they're going to... I think they're going to interview the guy that programmed it and explain what went wrong and everything on this. You also
I've seen, there are plenty of interviews with him where he talks about that. I do not blame him. I blame the company. I blame the
what was it, Milton Bradley at the time who ran them? Yeah.
I blame the what's it called? The timetable they gave him to work with. It's actually a miracle it turned out at all, to be honest with you.
There was a similar thing, I believe, with the 3DO version of Doom that came out, where they gave this poor woman programmer like no time to port Doom to this thing, and it was a disaster. But the fact that it functioned at all was a miracle, because it was another one where it was a lone person working on this space. Yeah. But the U.S. arcade versions of Dig Dug and Xevious, developed by Namco in Japan, re-released in this form for the first time ever. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The Atari arcade versions of Dig Dug and Xevious are going to be on this thing. Isn't that weird? I guess Atari did their own release. Home console versions of Galaga, Xevious, Galaxian, and Dig Dug. I wonder if it's going to include this new version of Pac-Man they're including on the special cartridge. I don't know if we can be that excited, but it's just neat that this DLC pack. It's only going to be $8. If you wait for it to go on sale, you can probably get it for $4, you know, and you get a
Yeah.
DLC pack for your Atari collection. I don't know if they'll do a physical release with it on there, because they have been pretty good. Like when they did the last expansion, you could buy a physical release of the Atari 50th with all the expansion stuff on it after they released it. But I don't know if they're going to do that again. But for $8, you know, it's neat. I kind of want to play the computer editions of Pac-Man again. For some reason, I'm thinking the movie Pixels looking at this. Yeah, the Adam Sandler movie. Well, because Pac-Man's in that, but he's a villain. I love Dig Dug. Dig Dug, believe it or not, CluuStudio, Dig Dug was my first ever video game I owned. My father picked it up for me for the Atari computer. It was like I don't know if it was a birthday gift or something. He gave it to me. So it was my first video game, I think, was Dig Dug. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You know the plot of Dig Dug? You crawl around underground and you're in a hazmat suit
had it
and
on
then
the
you explode
Commodore.
monsters. Oh, it's probably very similar to the Commodore version. Have I played Food Fight for the 7800? I think I have, because it's included in the Atari 50th anniversary celebration. I remember I played Food Fight at a Chuck E. Cheese. That was the first time I played that game. But yeah, kind of neat though. So if you don't want to go to the trouble, if you just want to play these on your PC or console, you can still get the Atari 50th anniversary and get the expansion pack with Namco games on it. So this is neat. I just thought this was neat. We're always negative on Geeky Geezers, but I feel like a lot of the gaming news as of late is negative. But I think this is cool.
That is very true.
Between the new console and also this expansion pack, and plus I'll finally get a chance to play the Atari 2600 Pac-Man to see what the what went wrong.
Oh, I would be very interested to hear your opinion on it. I didn't know you'd never played it or seen it before.
Funny enough, the Misc Pac-Man they released on the 2600 is actually rather good. It's not. I mean, it's still not as good as the later.
It was a great example of learning all the lessons from the failures of the previous. You know.
But okay. Were you really able to dig into Dig Dug? Yes, I was. Dig Dug's a classic. And I want to play I guess there's an Atari arcade version. I wonder how that differs from the Namco version I played. All right, moving on to Ubisoft.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Ubisoft's annual financial report includes claim that monetizing games with microtransactions makes the player experience more fun.
Oh, yeah, we love to be nickeled and dimed. Of course we do. We want to just give away our money to these big companies. Of course.
Oh man, there was a whole bunch of stuff that came out of Ubisoft this week. I couldn't use it all. Like one of the things was that the guy says the reason the Star Wars game failed that they released was kind of a failing IP right now, which I wonder if there might be some truth to that. I don't know, but yeah. Ubisoft's annual financial report isn't exactly for us. That is people who like video games and not stocks, but surely someone at the company had to know saying microtransactions make games more fun in a publicly available document wouldn't play well. The report filed on June 19th is pretty extensive, but only 10 pages in it dives into the key elements of Ubisoft's group business model and strategy, which includes further monetization after the initial purchase of the company's game. As reported by MP First, the report includes a key point about the adoption of monetization and engagement policies that respect the player experiences and are sustainable long term. This section includes two seemingly contradictory statements. At Ubisoft, the golden rule when developing premium games is to allow players to enjoy the game in full without having to spend more. Our monetization offer within premium games makes the player experience more fun by allowing them to personalize their avatars and progress more quickly. However, this is always optional. Microtransactions are one thing in casual free-to-play games, especially when it only involves things that don't give players unfair advantage, like cosmetic items, like you buy a new costume for a character,
right?
That sort of thing. This is a completely different conversation when it comes to premium games. If you're paying for a game up front, it's a lot harder to stomach microtransactions or additional purchases unless it's something like substantial like DLC. Monetization engagement policies that respect the player experience feel like a half-hearted attempt to avoid the much reviled play-to-win strategies or other aggravating marketing of in-game purchases. Even so, the bare suggestion that digital deluxe outfits or premium weapon skins are being included for our sake is laughable. It would be more respectful if Ubisoft didn't pretend microtransactions are something players would even specify as fun. So, yeah, that's from PC Gamer. But down with microtransactions. Like, I wasn't necessarily against the idea of an expansion pass. My problem was with when games basically would come out and the expansion pass was already ready at launch. And it's like, no, please stop doing that.
Yeah.
Give me the whole game. And if later on you want to do an expansion and charge a little extra for it, you know what I got in the habit of doing? I got in the habit of buying what they called Game of the Year editions of games, where all the expansion stuff was included on the disc for usually less money than it cost when it came out at launch. Because
that's
I got tired of that. Yeah. Down with micro. They are killing gaming. Troy, they can kiss my toe. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
They really are killing gaming. You're absolutely right.
Well, we have other good companies to talk
I
about.
will say one thing though, for all that we're down with microtransactions and so forth. Microtransactions are better than fucking loot crates.
Loot crates are the worst thing, because loot crates you don't even necessarily get what you're paying for, what you want.
Yeah, you may not get anything of any value. That's the problem.
Oh, you want that Luke?
Yeah.
You want the Luke Skywalker character for your Star Battlefront game? Well, you might get him. That was a whole thing where people were screaming. That was when The Last Jedi came out. That was the other big Star Wars controversy at the time. Moving on to an update on the Palworld lawsuit. Remember we talked about this?
Oh, yes, we did.
There's a thing. I probably should have picked a more up-to-date article on this because more of this came out, but I thought you would find this interesting. There's a Palworld lawsuit update. Some Palworld fans are threatening a boycott of Nintendo, citing new development in the lawsuit of the two parties. Nintendo officially sued Pocket Pair, the developer publisher Palworld, last September, alleging patent infringement. The video game giant asserts that certain gameplay features in Palworld, including a certain mechanics related to monsters and riding creatures, infringe on Nintendo's patents. Pocket Pair had since altered how some of these mechanics work in a controversial update of Palworld. We had mentioned this, yes. Last week, the Nintendo Palworld lawsuit got an unexpected update when it was revealed that Nintendo requested a correction to 3 of the patents involved in the lawsuit, changing the language around its patent on mounts, screen rents. So they're basically changing the patent in the middle of the court case, right?
Yep.
Drew a wide range of reaction comments that were too good to ignore. Players often question the legality of Nintendo's decision with some even calling for boycott. Is that legal what they're doing here?
I will find out as the case progresses.
Can you sue over violating a patent, and then while you're in the case, you change the patent rules in the middle of the case?
We'll see. We will see.
And this is no way that this is legal. Nintendo just can't go and change a patent in the middle of a lawsuit, says you monsters. Now, as far as we can tell, it is perfectly legal in Japan, as in the U.S., to modify patent mid-lawsuit, although only minor corrections are allowed. So, I don't know. I just thought that Power fans haven't mobilized a massive boycott, at least not yet, but at least a handful of them have suggested it might be a good idea to get Nintendo to recognize their concerns. Look, my whole thing with this is someone was making a point that if Nintendo was spending money on just making a really good Pokemon game instead of trying to sue people, spending the money on suing people, people would just be going out and buying the Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. I just don't know. Going back to playing my game, yeah, I get you, Sir Reality. I feel the same way. But I didn't even know Nintendo is Japanese. You didn't know Nintendo was a Japanese company? I mean, you could argue maybe at this point, they're still a Japanese company. I used to argue that they're almost an international company at this point because they have so much influence around the world. But, they do employ people from around the world too. But anyway, though, I just thought you might find this interesting since you pay attention to this court stuff. That it just strikes me as shady, that's all.
It is very shady. But then again, when you're talking about Nintendo, this should not surprise you in the slightest.
They've gotten really bad in the last year or so. I mean, no company is clean. But during the Switch era, I actually liked Nintendo. I thought they were doing good stuff. And in fact, I was so hesitant to buy their console, and they finally won me over again. And now we're here again. Yeah. Oh, he said it was Japanese translation for the Nintendo. I don't know what that means in Japanese. It had some connotation. I know they were a card making company at some point, but it means something in Japanese. Moving on, though, to some good news. First ever Hellraiser game announced with Doug Bradley returning.
Yeah, fired up about that.
You said this is the first time I heard you say I'm wishlisting the game.
Yeah, you said You sent me the article, and I knew you sent it to me to be used for the notes, but I took it as, oh, okay, it's available for not pre-order, but for wish listing on Steam. I said,
Yes.
okay, gonna go ahead and hit that one.
The first ever Hellraiser game is in development as a single-player survivor horror action release with the team behind it, all promising the chance to experiencing the infamous series like never before. It's funny. I was watching the trailer at work, and I'm like watching. Oh, this is not safe work. I better turn that off. There's a seductive scene in the beginning, and then of course the guy's girlfriend brings up the puzzle box. Remember?
Oh yeah.
It looks like a scene out of a Hellraiser movie, though. Yeah.
It is definitely R-rated. There's no doubt about that.
It's coming from Saber Interactive and Boss Team Games, and will of course pit players against Pinhead for fans of the series. The upcoming game, known as Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival, will see the actor Doug Bradley returning to the role for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Discovering the tale of Aiden, who must unlock the dark powers of the Genesis configuration of mysterious puzzle box to help his girlfriend from a hellish abyss, reads the official blurb. As Aiden, you'll harness the box's infernal abilities to survive your pact with the sinister Pinhead and battling against the twisted cult that worships him and the Cenobites. Fail and your suffering will be legendary even in hell.
Even in hell.
We have such sights to show you. It's almost like a Lost Hellraiser movie. That's what it looks like.
Also, there's a part of me that hopes that if this does well, that maybe it will send a message to the powers that be that we want another film in the Hellraisers line, specifically to that Doug Bradley era, storyline,
Oh, Horror King had mentioned this earlier in the week. Yes. It looks really good, and it's just nice to see Cenobites back. Working on the first true Hellraiser game has been a venture deep in the recesses of my darkest imaginations, said Hellraiser creator Clive Barker. The dedication that Saber and Boss Team Games have shown is nothing short of remarkable. They've immersed themselves in the Hellraiser universe, capturing its essence, the seductive pull of suffering and beauty within the grotesque and forged narrative that invites players to step beyond the threshold. Now, it's interesting. Clive Barker has not been a stranger to video games or computer games. There have been some Clive Barker computer games. Just I don't think any set in the any based off of Hellraiser. There was an unlicensed NES game that was being made by Color Dreams based on Hellraiser for the NES, but I don't think it ever got released. So that's why I did a quick thing. Wait a minute, wasn't there? But then I realized I don't think it ever got finished. So I think people had tried doing this before. I'm eager for both the curious and the damned to experience this new chapter in the Hellraiser mythos, where every moment bounces on the brink of nightmare and revelation. Saberhead Karch, meanwhile, called Hellraiser the quintessential horror franchise and one that lends itself perfectly to a video game. I'm surprised this hasn't been done before, but I can think of other horror franchises that would make great video games too, I still want my Phantasm game. But Saber has had success with horror IPs in the past and worked alongside Clive to create tense gameplay and a new story that delves into the twisted depths of pain and pleasure has been a real treat. Karch said, "We look forward to opening up the gates of hell." Coming out for Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS. So yeah, cool. What do we think?
I'm really looking forward to this. I think I had said previously, as this is supposed to be a horror game, but I'm going to find it very difficult to find any kind of fear in this, because it'll be like seeing old friends again.
Oh man, you saw the original Cenobites in the trailer too. The others came out.
Yes, they had the Chatterer, they had Butterball, and those are characters that had no speaking lines, so it's not like you're gonna get original actors back for that or whatever. What I did not see is if they had the female Cenobite in there. It would be interesting if they brought her back, but we'll see.
I think if you play this game, you open up a portal and lose your eternal soul. Oh, well, you're not going to lose it. He's just going to tear your soul apart.
I was just going to say, you don't lose it. You just get it torn apart, is what it is. Yeah.
We'll tear your soul apart. That's terrified. Yes. But yeah, looks great, and looks like a survival horror game in the vein of like Resident Evil 7. That's what it sort of reminded me of in the trailer. So, yeah. Okay.
Tree Rock Creations isn't into horror. That's fine. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I totally get that.
I like horror because it's one of the few genres left that has to have some. They can't. Of course, I did watch The Strangers Chapter 1 last night, and never mind, that's a rant for another time. All right, moving on. The Outer Worlds 2. Okay, so this is Microsoft does a U-turn on the Outer Worlds 2 $80 price point, bringing to $70 and reimbursing pre-order customers. Okay, so they got some. I have to give points to the gaming community. You must have given them some severe clapback on this when they announced they were going to sell it at $80. Xbox has announced it will not be selling the Outer Worlds 2 for any of its holiday games, for that matter, for $80 after all. Instead, it will keep it under $70. Yeah, the game industry, keep it at $69.99 for everything right now. Knock it off with this. Just because Nintendo did it doesn't mean you have to. An Xbox spokesperson shared the pricing IGN today. We're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore, and we'll keep our full-price holiday release, including the Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99, in line with current market conditions. Maybe they're making the excuse, the terrorists weren't as bad as we thought or something. Maybe that's what they're saying. I don't know.
Yep.
Refunds and reimbursements for those who have already pre-ordered the game for $80 will be available via whatever storefront or location the game is bought at. Xbox says that customers should expect refund notifications from the point of purchase, and some sellers may take a few days to be available. Nobody was going to buy this game at $80, so maybe they just saved this game from oblivion. So I don't know, but not really a huge fan of the original Outer Worlds. It was done by some of the old team that made one of the Fallout games, though. So yeah, I don't know. Nothing much less to say on this. Just an update on the pricing. Oh no.
Yeah, this one.
No.
Yeah, we gotta go here.
Okay. This is one I almost didn't. I was in the chat with you debating about talking about this, but it's too important a story to ignore.
It is.
And plus, I like the one you sent me, because this actually isn't. Okay. Steam introduces vague new rules banning certain kinds of adult content to appease credit card companies. So at first, I was thrown for a loop on this. Apparently, games can be on Steam if they are not ESRB rated. And I think I even heard that not all PC games get ESRB rated. That's more of a console thing. Is that right?
Right.
That I didn't know about. Okay, so Valve has introduced new and worryingly vague guidelines aimed at adult-only game development community, forbidding content that may violate rules and standards set by credit card companies, internet network providers, and more. So by adults only, you know what? Do I have to elaborate on that? Let's not. Okay, and it's not. It's whatever taboo you can think of, probably. Okay, it's not precisely clear when Valve introduced this latest.
Well, wait a minute. It's not entirely clear what constitutes that. That's part of the problem. If the company comes back and says, no, we don't like this content either, maybe you should restrict that. Or maybe we don't like this particular political opinion. Maybe you should restrict that as well. This implies something we don't like. Maybe you should restrict that as well.
That happened to people with certain banks. I'm just saying, in the last few
years.
It's not back and say, well, I don't like your face, so maybe we should eliminate that.
Well, yeah.
It's not precisely clear when Valve introduced its latest rule stipulating violates rule standards set by credit card companies. Okay. It's not precisely clear when Valve introduced its latest ruling stipulating what developers shouldn't publish on Steam, but it appears to have been added some in the last couple of months. So far what's now banned on the platform. According to Valve, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by its payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers. There's some small nod toward additional clarity, but not much. Valve suggests developers should, in particular, avoid publishing certain kinds of adults-only content, provides no specifics beyond that. Banks have long been skittish about providing services to businesses where sex and adult entertainment may be a factor, but at this 2021 article from The Guardian points out, their inconsistency has proven a challenge for business owners, which might be where Valve's own decision to err on the side of vagueness was born. Valve, of course, has made headlines recently after a number of controversial sex games appeared on its store, so it's easy enough to imagine banks and similar financial services getting extremely uncomfortable when a platform hits the news for publishing content featuring extreme sexual violence. And it seems Valve may become skittish in return, as noted by SteamDB, thanks PC Gamer. Appears the company, which previously said it would allow everything on Steam unless illegal or straight up trolling, has been frantically pulling taboo. I'm just gonna say taboo themed games. You can see it in the article. Okay, from its store in recent times. The vagueness of Valve's wording means confusion and concerning among adult content developers is likely to intensify as they grapple with the reality that financial institutions may not be the ultimate arbiters of ever-changing acceptability on Steam. So what I had heard was an activist group in Australia had gone to the payment processors and alerted them of this, and the payment processors stepped in and said taking this game off. But I have a problem with payment processors being in charge of what is basically the First Amendment, even if it's stuff that I personally wouldn't buy or enjoy myself. Do you understand?
Yeah, and I do want to address this question. Jesse Guajardo says, Troy, why are the damn credit card companies getting involved in video games? They do know they'll possibly lose customers and money over this BS. That does not even factor in. They can't lose because they are a monopoly. We'll get to that with the next article.
Yeah.
But you just try not using a credit card to order an online game. Just try doing that.
I also want to be clear that we don't even know who the payment processors are in this case. We're assuming it's the big two, and we're assuming it might be other ones that, frankly, I don't know. We're assuming it's the big ones that got involved in this, but no one has said who they are. They are banned. Imagine how many people were going to cancel their. Okay, here's what happens. I know that this one activist group that was spurring on these companies hated GTA 5 and wanted that off the things too. But obviously,
again, you can cancel your Visa card over GTA. Good luck trying to do any kind of online business without your credit card. That's what they're banking on. They have become a monopoly, and they have so much power. Your one, credit card means zero to them. And what is their purpose? It goes beyond business. This comes right down to, social engineering once again.
Yeah, I might even almost think perhaps a globalist perspective is involved in all this, but that's just me.
Almost certainly.
There was an update to this in response to questions from Eurogamer regarding Steam's new guidelines preventing certain types of adult content being distributed on the platform. Valve has provided some general background on the events leading to the decision. We recently notified that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment process. Right, credit card networks and bank. Valve's spokesperson told Eurogamer. As a result, we are retiring those games from being sold in the Steam store because loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and game content on Steam. Basically, they're saying their hands were tied on this, which may be true.
It really is very likely true. How are they going to process payments without the process?
I have a question though.
Company.
If you purchase one of these said games on Steam and they remove it, I don't even think you can re-download it again if you didn't already have it saved somewhere. I think it's gone. I think it's vaporware, and I don't think you get a refund either. I don't think you get a refund either. And I'm not even going to get into the.
We're not even going to go to the whole thing about physical media again. Yeah.
Not that this stuff was sold on physical. I don't know. It's again, some of the material probably being sold would be what many of us consider sketchy, but I would argue it's still not illegal. That's the
exactly, thing. And it's your choice as a consumer whether you want to consume that material or not. You have a right as a consumer.
So here we are. Basically, probably what's going to happen, to get back to Jesse, what he was saying, I think what's going to happen is eventually they're going to try banning something or removing something where there's a bigger outcry on it. Like, few people are wanting to defend this kind of material, but if it's something like a Grand Theft Auto or maybe something else someday, I don't know if that'll be the catalyst for people to start looking at this. I mean, here's what happens. Once they start with this stuff, they don't stop. They just after everything else. It's not going to stop here.
Yep.
This is why I don't like censorship, because even if it's getting rid of something I don't personally care for, I know it'll eventually come after something that I do care for. All right, so moving on to, and of course this ties into our next article, Japan Fair Trade Commission, and Visa ordered to reform credit card information system by Japan's antitrust watchdog. You had sent this to me as kind of a follow-up to this. Visa has been instructed by Japan's antitrust watchdog to reform its business practices after being found to restrict and pressure card issuers to use its credit information system. This marks the first administrative actions taken against the credit card company in Japan. Visa's Singaporean unit, which manages the Asia Pacific region, was found to charge higher fees to other credit card companies that did not use the network to check credit information. Japan's antitrust regulator, the Japan Fair Trade Commission, JFTC, has concluded its investigation Visa worldwide, accepting the company's remedial commitments over alleged anti-competitive practices in the credit card market. This marks the first time the JFTC has taken legal actions against a leading global credit card brand. The probe focus on allegations that Visa's Singaporean arm, which handles its Japanese businesses, unfairly steered Japanese companies toward its card authorization system over rivals through a subtle rule change in the complex networks of credit cards transactions. The JFTC found that Visa charged higher fees up to other credit card companies that did not use its networks to check credit information. In response to the investigation, Visa has committed to reforms aimed at addressing these practices. The specifics of these reforms are not yet publicly disclosed, but the JFTC has closed the probe after accepting Visa's commitments. This development is significant as it sets precedent for future antitrust actions against major global financial institutions operating in Japan. Separately, Visa's regulatory scrutiny in New Zealand, where the Commerce Commission has reduced interchange fees paid by businesses to accept Visa and MasterCard payments. The regulator has decided not to regulate the fees for commercial credit card and prepaid debit card payments at this time. This decision aims to cut costs for businesses and consumers, with the Commission estimating that the average business could save around $500 each year for lower fees. Latest developments underscore the ongoing regulatory focus on fair competition financial services sector. As Visa and other major financial institutions navigate these regulatory challenges, they must adapt their business practices to comply with antitrust laws and ensure fair treatment for all market participants. So I guess good on New Zealand too. They are not Australia, obviously.
So obviously this doesn't tie directly to the problems we were pointing out on the previous one, but it is related. This does seem to be a first step in breaking up these predatory, monopolistic practices of the financial institutions.
Yes, Gesundheit.
Thank you.
I know this sort of ties with the last topic, but I did want to bring it up. Everybody who bought one of these games off Steam should make a class action lawsuit against them. Here's the problem. I think they're banking on at least this for this time being they'd be too embarrassed to do that because of the content of the thing they bought. They don't want to expose as having bought something like that. Troy, I can see where class action lawsuits just waiting to happen with Rockstars and with Karen running the credit card companies. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. This is kind of creepy. This is. I'd almost say this is like remember in The Dark Knight when Batman came up with that thing to stop the Joker where he could read everyone's phones, or he was doing something to track him, and Lucius Fox is like saying, look, I'll help you with this and do this, but I can't work for you after this because this is a breach. This is going too far.
This is going too far.
And then Bruce Wayne said, look, when it happens, just press this button, and when he does, the entire thing he built gets destroyed, so it can't be used again. He was just using it that one time to get the Joker. So it's kind of you have to stop the Joker, he's terrible, and I guess in this case, people think this content of game is terrible. I frankly think, though, it's a First Amendment thing. Well, but at the same time, you're making an unholy alliance here with with these companies, and they're not going to stop with this. They can go after political speech, they can go after other artistic things they don't like, which are not of this nature, and still go after it. It doesn't stop with this.
Yep.
Okay. Anything left on that?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to good news, perhaps. Oh wait, we got a thing. Geek Flag, bless you,
Netter, for $2. Thank you so much,
Thank
Netter.
you, Nate.
That's sweet of you.
Thank you. Pity there's not like a tissue like emoji or something. Right?
I was just gonna say, I feel weird monetizing my wife's sneezes, but thank you very much for the kind thought.
You could have an ASMR stream with just Snetter sneezes right there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay, Tony and Ziva, new series. What? You had often said when Bull was on, you would pick on Bull. You're saying he's always Denozo. And because of Bull, he's not Denozo anymore.
I love Denozo. I really did. And Netter, did you even know about this?
I did not.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It just got announced this week at Comic-Con over the weekend. We'll have more Comic-Con stories next week, but I did sneak a couple in here. Tony and Ziva made their Comic-Con debut Thursday in San Diego, where stars Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo, am I saying that right? Regaled the crowd with a new trailer and tales from the set of the newest NCIS spinoff. The 10-episode series dubbed NCIS Tony and Ziva will premiere September 4th with 3 episodes on Paramount Plus. Following the premiere, new episodes will drop weekly on Thursdays with the season finale set for October 23rd. The panel at the Hilton's Indigo Ballroom also featured executive producer and showrunner John McNamara and moderator Brian Ditson of NCIS. McNamara promised the show should appeal to both diehard fans and newbies. I do feel that we try to work a balance between what institutional viewers who know it cold, he said. I don't think they will be bored. Hopefully they'll be almost nostalgic to see. The new viewers will hopefully be like, oh, wow, these two are a thing. The spin-off picks up after Ziva's supposed death when Tony left NCIS team to go raise their daughter. Years later, Ziva was discovered alive, leading her to complete one final mission with NCIS before she was reunited with Tony and their daughter. Since then, Tony and Ziva have been raising their daughter Telly together. When Tony's security company is attacked, they must go on the run across Europe, trying to figure out who is after them. It's an epic love story about two people going on a journey, said de Pablo. Added Weatherly, it's not a will they or won't they, it's when will they. Okay. NCS Tony and Ziva also stars Amita Suman, Maximilian Osinski, Larry Rossi, Isla Gee, Nasami Benchikio, Terrence Manor, Julian Overon, and James Darcy.
Nice.
The series is executive produced by McNamara, Pablo Weatherly, Laura Leeser, Christina Strain, Shelley Meals, and Marzi Almus. The series is produced by CBS Studios and distributed by Paramount Global Content Distribution. Well, what do you think, huh?
I'm actually kind of excited. Netter, what do you think? You're the bigger fan.
Well, it's interesting. I guess Denozo couldn't make it on that other show. What's it called, Boss or something? Where he played attorney or something?
He wasn't. No, they made a point that he failed this was a big secret on the show that someone finally found out. He failed the law exam. No, he was a psychologist that was able to read juries and had an advanced thing of jury screening. Bull was a great show.
He failed at that.
Yeah,
he didn't fail at that. It was
NCIS. But the thing is, though, will Gibbs accept him back?
Anyway, and I think Gibbs eventually left NCIS, and now it's Gary Cole's on there. I do like Gary Cole.
So many times and come back so many times.
Right.
But he's an executive producer, so he can.
Yeah.
Yes. But, hey, well, maybe he'll pop in. Yeah. But Bull was great, except for that final season. They up the final season. They figured out a way to do that because they kicked the writers out. Did one of the head writers get Me Too? Something happened. Yeah, they got rid of the main producer. They also got rid of the actor Freddie Rodriguez, who played one of the main lawyers on there, which bothered me. And it was some okay episodes, but it was off. I loved Bull. I mean, I know Mike Weatherly from NCIS. I would watch it as Denozo on that.
Right.
There was the great line where they had to have McGee. They had to get into this club, right? And McGee was already a published author, right? He was writing those thriller novels, right? That was based on.
They were actually very popular, and apparently he made a lot of money off of them.
So he was able to get. How are we going to get into this club with the guy at the door? And he says, "Wait a minute, you're a famous writer, McGee. You go in as yourself." And he says, "I'm right." And they let him in, and then Ozo says in the van, he says, "I have to write a book." And then Gibbs says, you might want to read one first.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Oh, gosh.
Bull was canceled for financial reasons and scandal. Yeah, well, there was a scandal that I don't know what happened with the scandal, because I don't know why there was an internal investigation of Freddie Rodriguez, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I liked his character on the show. I just in general like that show, and then the head writer got kicked off to the head producer, and I'm sorry, maybe he ran the writers too hard, but it was still a well done show, and that last season wasn't great. Another NCIS I passed, no character development. All come that this is a spinoff. This is about Tony and Ziva. So plus I'm watching NCIS Sydney right now, which is
I love too that Real Weight Nation Gaming Club, welcome by the way, says I trouble, but the first episode lost me. I kind of tried it too, but I was like, no, get back to NCIS. I don't want to watch this show.
Get back to NCIS. I don't want to watch this show. I enjoyed Bull, but I tend to like lawyer shows. And I used to love the David E. Kelly lawyer shows like Ellen McBeal, The Practice, Boston Legal. And so when Bull came on, I felt like they never returned to the legal drama, but in a different way. It was more, I don't want to say comic. It was more like using the scientific method for actually winning court cases or something. It was kind of interesting. But Eliza, was brought on the show, but she sued the show for two reasons. It comes to mind. It came out the show was all kinds of. Okay, I don't know what happened with her on the set. I remembered when she showed up on the show. I'm like, well, here. I'm one of these jerk audience members. I didn't like her on the show. I remember she was on Buffy, but I don't know, and I think what I had heard, Michael, whether they were someone on the set was toying with making her like a co-star, like same billing as Michael Weatherly. He didn't like that, but to be fair, as someone in the audience, I didn't like that either. I liked the All Law and Order, The Practice, L.A. Law. Practice was really good those first few seasons. I did like it, but anyway, Tony and Ziva coming to streaming September 4th. Spinal Tap. The end continues.
Yeah, this one kind of surprised me. New
trailer. I watched the trailer for this. Nigel, David, and Derek haven't seen the film. Rob Reiner said Thursday before unveiling the first trailer for his mockumentary sequel, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, during Collider's directors and on directors panel at Comic-Con. Spinal Tap 2 has Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer back as legendary heavy metal Tap. The film follows England's loudest and most punctual band as they reunite after a 15-year hiatus for one final concert. Also featured in the sequel will be cameos from Elton John, Paul McCartney, Garth Brooks, and Trisha Yearwood, as well as appearances from Paul Schaefer, Fran Drescher, Don Lake, John Michael Higgins, Nina Conti, Griffin Matthews, Kerry Godly man? I assume your ancestor was a godly man. I'm sorry, I had to. You think I'm joking? Okay, and Chris Addison. What I find interesting about this, there was a scene in the trailer where Paul McCartney was saying, "Pink torpedo, that's poetry."
Yeah.
Like Paul McCartney was treating Spinal Tap like, oh, they really are brilliant. I don't know why people don't take them all seriously. How does the group reunion concert come back to life at the Lakefront Arena in New Orleans? As Smalls reveals in the trailer, there was a cancellation an evening with Stormy Daniels. Old age has taken them. Derek is doing crypto commercials. Nigel forms with a pub band, hard rock that is, and the group is still grappling with losing 11 drummers. Okay, so it looks fun. I'm going to try to catch it in theaters. But don't blow it, Ryan. Well, I hope not. Because I know, Troy, you and Netter had seen the first movie for the first time, right?
We just recently saw it for the first time. Yeah, it was a trip. It was wow.
Oh, and for you Blu-ray collectors out there and 4K Blu-ray collectors, Criterion will be re-releasing Spinal Tap on Blu-ray in September, the original, and that's very interesting because one of my first DVDs I ever bought was the Criterion edition of this Spinal Tap, which later went off the market and had an audio commentary track with the cast. When the movie was re-released by MGM later on, they got the cast back, but it was an audio commentary by the cast playing themselves, reflecting on the actual documentary. So it's like the cast members were watching the movie again, but it wasn't the actors. It was like the band members talking about it, like it was an actual documentary. Do you understand?
Of course, yes.
And they kept complaining about everyone. They kept complaining about their manager. They said, "Oh, look, Ian with his hands in his own pockets for a change." Like they were thinking. They kept taking digs at everybody in the movie as the characters from the film. It was fascinating. But
my question: will this one go to 12?
You know what?
I like that, Nate.
It might. Like, but it's funny that during one of the pieces, Elton John comes out on stage is playing the piano with them. So
that's funny.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I hope there's some new songs or maybe some long songs we never heard before in this too. But
yeah,
I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed. But I thought it was interesting they were doing this because I mean, a lot of older rock stars always do these reunion concerts or
right.
tour things. So I thought that's what it would be riffing on this time. Like I said, I saw Billy Idol and Joan Jett and Blackhearts recently, so I thought it would be in the vein of that. So yeah. I don't know. Looking forward to it. Almost looks too clean though. It doesn't have that because of course now you can shoot documentaries with HD cameras, so it doesn't have that same kind of low budget grain that the original had, where it's
well, but it wouldn't, right? Something
it wouldn't nowadays. It would look like this. I understand,
right.
But yeah. I don't know. It looks good. I'm gonna catch it in theaters if I can. So yeah. Moving on to South Park. This was a contribution from Marc Malnekoff.
Yeah.
South Park's creators are now billionaires. What the?
Yeah. Okay. It was a big deal. Yeah.
If you piss off South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they will make you pay both financially and satirically. On July 2nd, after Comedy Central delayed the season 27 premiere of the show because Paramount's parent company was locked in a continuous negotiation for its streaming rights in the midst of months-long acquisition of Paramount by David Ellison's Skydance Media, Parker and Stone issued a statement on X.com and let it rip. This merger is a shit show, the duo wrote, and it's effing up South Park. Both transactions were resolved this week as Parker and Stone agreed Monday to a 5-year, $1.5 billion streaming deal that will bring South Park to Paramount Plus globally. And Thursday, the FCC officially approved the Skydance acquisition. More on that in a minute. The deal cements the duo's place as the highest paid TV showrunners in Hollywood and made the 55-year-old Parker and the 54-year-old Stone billionaires worth an estimated $1.2 billion each. But the new agreement, which will pay the pair at least $250 million per year, didn't end Paramount's headaches. In South Park's season premiere, which aired Wednesday, Donald Trump is depicted in bed with Satan, and Jesus is seen warning the show's young protagonist about the dangers of provoking him. You guys saw what happened to CBS? Well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount, says the Jesus character. You really want to end up like Colbert? Yeah, they do. The comedically fearless Parker and Stone now enter television's rare billionaire creator class, joining Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Dick Wolf, and Jerry Seinfeld in the Three Comma Club. That astonishing amount of money is a testament to the enduring popularity of South Park, which has been a cultural phenomenon since its debut on Comedy Central in 1997, becoming, in just its second season, the highest rated non-sports program in basic cable history. With nearly 6 million viewers over the years, it became an indispensable of Comedy Central, and its 300-plus episodes have now become bulk inventory that re-air dozens of times per week. Facing the prospect of another season premiere delay and potential trash talking on the stage at San Diego's Comic-Con this week, where Parker and Stone took a rare high road, Skydance and Paramount agreed Monday to rework Park County's production deal in conjunction with the new streaming rights agreement, a sticking point in the negotiations. That's a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I from what I understand of this show's popularity, though, they've earned it.
One good thing I can say about South Park is they make fun of everybody. They do. They do go after everybody. I remember when South Park premiered in the 90s, though. It's shocking to see that it's still going strong. And, that's a lot of money, though. Okay, well, they know what they're doing. Apparently, they're very shrewd when it comes to negotiating, too. Like with streaming and other things, they knew what to ask for and what to declare. They apparently know. I guess they're like George Lucas in that sense. They know how to negotiate. The FCC approves Paramount's $8 billion deal with Skydance after months of chaos and political intrigue.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is, of course, this ongoing thing. I think we've been talking about it for at least a year. Federal regulators on Thursday approved Paramount's $8 million merger with Skydance, clearing the way to close a deal that combined Hollywood's glitz with political intrigue. Sample approval from Federal Communications Commission comes after months of turmoil revolving around President Donald Trump's legal battle with 60 Minutes, the crown jewel of Paramount Plus owned network CBS. With the specter of Trump administration potentially blocking the hard-fought deal with Skydance, Paramount earlier this month agreed to pay a $16 million settlement with the president. Critics of the summit lambasted as veiled bribe to appease Trump amid rising alarm over editorial independence overall. Further outrage has also emerged after CBS said it was canceling Stephen Colbert's Late Show, just days after the comedian sharply criticized the parent company's settlement on air. Paramount cited financial reasons, but big names both within and outside the company have questioned those motives. Americans no longer trust the legacy national news media to report fully, accurately, and fairly. It's time for change, Carr said. He's not wrong, right?
Right, I mean, absolutely.
All right, I don't... It's getting late, so I don't know how much in the weeds I'm going to get on this. But concerns about editorial independence at CBS have piled up even months before the deal was announced, with Paramount overseeing 60 Minutes stories in new ways, as well as journalists at the network expressing frustrations about the changes on an award-winning program that has been a weekly staple for 57 years. Well, in April, the then executive producer, 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, resigned, noting that it had become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I have always run it. So, yeah, big changes happening over there.
And we'll get more into that with the next article. That's
I don't have a picture for that one. I figured we'd just keep this one. But
that's fine.
Paramount bidder Skydance vows to end DEI policies and create CBS News. Skydance, the entertainment company set to take over Paramount in an $8 billion merger, told federal officials this week. That is a. I thought that was a weird typo. Ombudsman. What is that?
An ombudsman?
Yes.
Yeah, someone to oversee something.
I've never heard that word
in my life.
Someone to be
put in charge of something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that word in my life. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like someone, like if you're having a dispute, they will be the one that kind of helps to like listen to both sides and make sure everything's fair.
Okay, we'll review the complete the complaints of bias at CBS.
If you want the official definition, an ombudsman is an official often appointed by a government or organization who investigates complaints and attempts to resolve disputes, typically on behalf of individuals or groups. In other words, a fix-it man.
Yeah. So the ombudsman will be in place for at least 2 years, Sky General Counsel Stephanie Kyoko McKinnon said in a later address to the Federal Communications Commission Chairman Brendan Carr, who was appointed by President Donald Trump. Filing suits of the FCC, which has a regulatory oversight of the blockbuster deal, Skydance also pledged to eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion programs of the media conglomerate. Filings were published on the FCC's website Wednesday. So that's it. I guess DEI is finally going away at Paramount. That's what it sounds like. What do you think?
Yeah, and this falls under exactly what I was talking about before, where Skydance is very much aware of what's been hurting this company and fully intends to effect changes. We've been talking about it in all of entertainment, that the winds of change are very evident, and much to the chagrin of many of the very leftist elements in Hollywood, doesn't really matter. For the companies to keep, doing what they do, they got to make money, and they will. So they are going to start going with the Michael Jordan philosophy of business. Republicans have money too,
Yeah.
and so a lot of that type stuff that we've hated for so long is changing, and this also means, and in very simple terms, I've mentioned this about Paramount and specifically Star Trek before, that means that contracts are going to be not renewed. So the era of Kurtzman Trek is not only coming to an end, but canonically it's going to have to go away. It's going to have to be swiped aside because they won't be able to refer to anything that happened under Kurtzman without Kurtzman getting a kickback for it and forming some sort of new deal with him. And they don't want to do that. So it'll be we will be living in interesting times as we see this this whole Paramount thing play itself out.
DI will go away because it's illegal. Yeah, I agree.
It always was. It's just they ignored that because they could get away with it.
All right, moving on to Microsoft. Sorry, this is in the Misc section.
This is interesting. Well, it wasn't really gaming.
No, I know. I feel like we're nearing the end, but why is it saying I have 29 more pages? I don't have 29 more pages.
Maybe you have a whole bunch of blank pages. No, you've got Microsoft, yeah, and 2 more after this. There's only 2, or there's only 3 in the miscellaneous.
That's weird. Hold on. Now I lost. Hold on. Sorry, bear with me a moment here. Microsoft. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I just lost my place there for a second. Okay. No. Oh, I'm on page 25. Okay, never mind.
There you go.
Okay, Microsoft after 29 pages. I thought it was like only halfway through. Microsoft after nearly 2 decades has exited the business of selling digital TV movies. Let's say you own an Xbox, go on the Xbox store, and you can buy the latest movie on your Xbox store and watch it on your Xbox, right? Well, now they've exited this business of selling digital TV and movies. Without advance warning, Microsoft Movies and TV app of this Friday has stopped sales and rentals of movies and TV shows. Importantly, Microsoft no longer offers new entertainment content for purchase, including movies and TV shows on Microsoft.com, Microsoft Store on Windows, and Microsoft Store on Xbox. The tech giant says in a support notice on its site. A similar notice appears on the Xbox support site. The notice did not provide any explanation for the decision. A Microsoft rep declined to provide further comment when contacted by Variety. The company's discontinuation of movie TV sales and rentals was spotted earlier. It's all going to go away at some point. All these digital sites that sold the movies, they're all going to disappear. I think at some point. I've come to this conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe iTunes will be the last one. Customers who have previously purchased content at Microsoft Movies and TV storefront can continue to access it on Xbox and Windows device. The notice says Microsoft is not offering refunds, citing Microsoft terms of sale. So, yeah, goes back to what we say about owning physical media. I don't think they're going to allow you to download these movies and TV shows forever that you purchased. I think you're going to be able to watch them for a period, and then they're just going to disappear. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reality is that we got to remember that the people with the money are the ones that hold the power, right? And they send the message, what they want, and hopefully, the big monopolies start learning that they're only monopolies because they're able to manipulate us. If we ever learn that we can resist, they lose their monopoly.
This must have been an Apple competing thing, because Apple sells movies and TV shows on the iTunes store. So Microsoft probably figured we need to be doing the same thing.
So you think this is the equivalent of the whole Apple iPod, iObject, as opposed to whatever Microsoft's version of that was that never took off?
It's possible. I mean, Sony does the same. I think Sony does a similar thing with PlayStation. So we had a story while they had to get rid of shows, and if you had purchased that, you were out of luck. Now, I think since then Sony figured out a way to reinstate those, but I think Microsoft just realized it doesn't want to be in the movies and TV side of things anymore. It's just going to chuck it. But the trouble is, you can't get refunds on the stuff you purchased, and I guess you can download digital files of these that are only compatible with this Microsoft software. I mean, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So Microsoft stopped selling digital movies and TV shows. It cost them more money for the licensing fees that they were bringing in. Well, then why did they do it to begin with, though? They want to have their hands in everything, but then they pull out years later when it's inconvenient. I mean, Apple is in it for the long haul with movies and TV on their services because they even have. I think they do have a game plan for having, or maybe they don't. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I don't know. Okay, that's enough time on this. I feel bad if you bought stuff off the Microsoft Store. You're probably going to lose it. Okay.
Yep.
This is a fun story this week.
I kind of got a kick out of this.
I might have to pick this up just once.
Yeah.
The new season of Wednesday drops on Netflix August 6th, and fans of the Jenna Ortega-led series couldn't be more excited. If you can't wait until next...
I love the thing on the back. There's nothing happy about this meal.
No, there are all sorts of Wendy's joke. Like they had a sign called, instead of Wendy's, Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, yes. I liked it.
What's the Wendy's slogan?
Like
Quality is our passion or something, and she says pain is my passion, I think, on hers. It's like this. It's like this. It's just terrible. But look at this. That actually looks interesting. This looks very goth. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Like if fast food was like if we lived in a goth world, it would. If this was fast food.
Right.
The themed meal sounds delicious. Designed by Wednesday Addams, the other pigtailed outcast herself, the limited time meal of misfortune is centered around the dips of dread. 4 Inferno-styled mystery sauces, along with Reston 10-piece nuggets, small Kirsten crispy fries, and a small Raven's Blood Frosty, all served with custom packaging only Wednesday could have devised, the brand announced. It will be available August 4th. And will be available at Wendy's restaurants nationwide via the app just in time for the Wednesday Season 2 Part 1 premiere on Netflix at Wednesday, August 6th. It'll be available in Canada, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, and Guam as well on August 11th. You will get 2 of 4 mystery dips with each meal. There will also be 2 mystery dipping sauces. Only fate will decide which of the 4 dips you will get. It could be You Can't Hide. I guess that's spelled like Mr. Hyde. This Will Sting, Grave Mistake, or Nowhere to Woe. Don't bother asking which sauce you'll get. You must surrender to your destiny. Those brave enough to try them all must endure multiple visits. Wendy's teases. What earth is the Frosty? Wayward souls can dip into Raven's Blood Frosty, complete with a spoon of gloom, and Wednesday-themed Frosty cups, perfect for seeing that delicious dark cherry swirl they added. Okay, so it's not actual Raven's Blood.
Cool. That is pretty. Well, of course not.
I don't know, man.
Kind of brilliant. And the dark cherry actually sounds really good. I may just want to stop in just for that.
Just get a Frosty. You can probably get a Frosty.
Yeah.
Let's get the Frosty with that. Their nuggets aren't bad for fast food. It's they're white meat at least. They don't just Some of those original McDonald's McNuggets from the '80s, man, you didn't quite know what was in them.
Right.
But I don't know. I might pick this up. I'm curious about these sauces, what they are. I'm sure the Running on Empty guy is going to do a review of this meal, but I don't know. I might have to pick this up. We'll see. I'll have to let you know. Great. Now I'm hungry. I don't look back. It's available August 4th. Available August 4th. So I haven't had a Frosty in years, actually.
So you want to go to Wendy's for our anniversary? I'm kidding.
Maybe for lunch. Okay. You have to do a proper dinner.
And
then our last story.
Sure.
It's not a typical collaboration, but I think these collaborations are cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I need to watch Wednesday. I've heard good things about it. Oh, welcome.
I have too, yeah.
Lots. Swinging in Tanze, but hear about hit a severe storm, probably lose power because they... Oh. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I hope you make it through the night. All right.
Yeah.
Get yourself a depressing Wednesday meal when the time allows. And finally,
last article of the night.
Our last article of the night. Oh, I gotta actually move the thing. Is Rachel Zegler's in the news?
Yes, and I have already said that I don't believe that this is this. I don't think this is what the headline is saying. I think this is a little bit clickbaity, but we'll get into it.
Well, that's why I brought it up with you, because I want to get clarification on this. Like, is this normal? Does this happen? Okay, I'm just going to read it. Rachel Zegler abruptly exit Evita performance mid-show and understudy received standing ovation. Rachel Zegler had to exit stage left on Thursday. The actress 24, who was starring in Evita at the London Palladium on West End, abruptly left the evening performance due to illness. According to People, Ziegler's departure was announced during intermission. The Snow White star's understudy, Bella Brown, took over during the second act, opening the scene with the famous tune Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Despite the switch-up, the audience was pleased with Brown's performance. They gave the young star a nearly 5-minute standing ovation. Brown and the rest of the cast also took 10 bows. Today really show just how important swings and covers are within this industry. The actress wrote on Instagram stories, "They are pillars of a show. Proud today to be at Evita." Brown added in a follow-up post, "We are what a lucky audience get to see both me and my angel Regzeg." The Post reached out to Ziegler's rep for comment. Ziegler is starring as the former First Lady of Argentina, and the musical, which debuted in 1978. The show was written by Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber. On Thursday, Ziegler performed during the matinee before leaving in the middle of the night run. It is unclear if she'll return to the stage Friday. The singer set the star in Evita through September 6th. The production began its run in June. At the time of the show's opening, Ziegler took to Instagram to gush over the opportunity. "I couldn't be luckier," she shared the message. "I have such a deep love for everyone who was touched this production. I never thought I would live to see my dream this way. Surrounded by the most amazing people, I feel so held." Why didn't she act like this during Snow White? Okay, go ahead. You said you have your own opinion on this, though.
Yeah. So I really feel like the narrative here was meant to capitalize on the negative opinions about Rachel Ziegler and make it sound like, she left the performance and her understudy was so much more preferred and blah, 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 and this and that. That doesn't sound like that was it at all. It sounds like she started the performance, wasn't feeling well. She couldn't complete the show, so her understudy did what understudies do and took over for her. And the audience was very positive of it because these things happen in live performances.
And I will say this: I picked on Ziegler in the past, but I think in this instance she is acting how she should act, and giving props to the understudy, right? And
now, in addition to giving props to the understudy, if I was going to put any kind of a slant on this, I would say maybe she wasn't feeling well in inverted commas, and did this intentionally to give her understudy a little bit of glory and uplift her a little bit. I'm speculating based on nothing. It's just a possibility. It could potentially be a little bit of virtue signaling on her part, if you're going to try to assume the worst of her. But it isn't necessarily the case. Who knows? I mean, okay. It's Broadway, baby. Who knows? But
I take it this happens in theater, though. This can happen.
Sure. I'll give you a for instance. When I was in my first year in college, my buddy Otto came back from the service, and we went out to see The Man of La Mancha at the Chicago Theater, starring Raul Julia. It was an incredible performance. His co-star playing Dulcinea was supposed to have been Sheena Easton, and Sheena Easton wasn't feeling well for the entire run here in Chicago, so she never actually performed here in Chicago. So no idea how well she would have done, but her understudy was fabulous.
So usually the understudies are also very professional performers. They get, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And usually they're set up to have some other role in the play. Everybody in a professional production is going to be incredibly talented, but yes, you have to be prepared to take on other roles, because this isn't like a pre-screened edited film where the actor literally breaks his leg and you can work around it and CG over it and have a stand-in do long shots. No, this is a live performance, and you need someone to jump in and play that role. So this is another reason why I've always been bothered by this whole idea. Well, you can't recast Indiana Jones. It's always got to be Harrison Ford. No, it does not. That's not how acting works. Like I said, with a live performance, you could swap out an actor in the middle of the performance.
There you
Let
go. That's what
alone
they did
for
here.
the next performance, you know?
So I'm glad the audience had a good time and that the production was saved. So okay, that's all. But yeah, I wasn't necessarily putting in this as a thing to rag on Zegler. I was just curious.
No,
to see
but a
what
lot of people are talking about it right now, so I did
Okay.
feel like it was something we should probably give an even-handed,
Plus, I know you
discussion.
know a bit about theater, so you'd have. I thought you'd have an interesting.
Oh, I didn't even
perspective
think
on
about
this.
that fact, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's why I
suppose
picked it
so.
because I thought
Yeah.
Troy will tell me if this is odd or if this is normal. Okay, that's
No. This is absolutely normal.
Okay.
Like I said, you can take her at her word or not that she wasn't feeling well and what the reasoning behind it was, but it's perfectly plausible that she literally couldn't go on for whatever reason and for an understudy to jump in. Yeah, the show must go on. Yes, that's where that comes from.
Exactly. All right, moving on to nothing. So
The
we're
end.
done.
That's it. That's the end.
The
Yeah.
end. Thank you everybody for stopping by. Thank you so much for the super chats and everything else. And thank you, hopefully, for also coming to our future shows this week, starting with anything going on tonight with deleted scenes.
So, Deleted, if you're in the chat, I didn't see a late night show for you to redirect everyone to. If you're doing one, let me know. But, next thing up for me will be, how do you call it? The tomorrow night, members night at the movies. Those of you that are members, including someone who was gifted a membership tonight, absolutely can join me if you are so inclined and interested at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. I will be hosting a members movie that I did not ever get a hole up for you guys, but I think based on a suggestion from Big Al on Saturday, I think I'm going to go ahead and do Suburban Commando to kind of honor Hulk Hogan. Shelley Duvall and Christopher Lloyd. Yeah. So I think we'll do that one. And going forward, I think I want to kind of expand. Netter does retro cinema. We can start doing more current films if you guys want. So let's start thinking about that as a group of members. See what you guys think. Okay, Deleted Scene says it confirms there's no reserved seats for tonight, so that's fine.
Gotcha.
That's fine. And Suburban Commando tomorrow night. Yeah. And but yeah, there you go.
And then that brings us to Tuesday.
Well, Tuesday night, I know that Deleted does have his super secret, movie night thing there, and that's fine. But at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, on his channel and all of his affiliates, we will be discussing Inland Empire. We watched it over the past 2 weeks, and this week we will try to dig into the underlying meaning. I think you guys are already starting to tease out a good portion of it, but I've done a lot of research, so I got some notes to bring, which then leads us into the season 3 finale of Blake 7. The episode is Terminal, and all I can say is everything changes after this, just like after season 2. Some big changes to the roster, changes to the sets. So you might want to tune in and see what's happening there.
So it's a big deal.
Oh yeah. And a good episode, really good episode. Let's see. And then Thursday, do we got something going on special on Thursday night, or I can't remember?
Yeah, there's this old couple I'm gonna have on. They've been married 33 years, so we're gonna
33 years of marriage, man. These must be old farts.
Yeah, so we're gonna help them celebrate.
Yeah.
Sounds
Netter
like
and I are celebrating 33 years of. Well, for me, it's been wedded bliss. For her, I don't want to speak for her. I'm just surprised she hasn't strangled me in my sleep. But hope you can come out and celebrate with us on Thursday. Of course, followed afterwards by deleted scenes with his coming attractions to let you know what he's got coming up. And that takes us into Friday, where Boomer and I are still working out. We've got a couple ideas about what we're going to do.
It'll be special, whatever it is.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
It'll be a fun.
Even if it's fun because of the alcohol. One way or another, it'll be fun. So that'll be Friday at 9 Central on Last Call with Troy Pacelli and his affiliates.
Yes. And that brings us to Saturday.
Netter's Network Retro Cinema, a movie that I've had sitting on my shelf and have not yet watched. Demi Moore is G.I. Jane.
You never saw that movie?
Nope.
I saw that in the theater.
Because I wanted to see it and never got around to it. So now I'm going to watch it.
It's good. I remember
Which
watching
is why
it.
we do this, I suppose.
Yes.
So that will be Saturday, and that brings us back to Sunday again.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to check out Unscripted with Deleted Scenes, and then check us out for next week. We will be having Comic-Con news, I think, because I know that was the big thing over the weekend, and I did do a couple preview stories, but I think there was going to be more to tell. I don't know if I want to talk about Starfleet Academy, though.
Don't even get me started on Starfleet Academy. Well, again, I do feel that all of that is going to be going away as the Kurtzman era ends. But I will say that I've got some thoughts about the announcement by Hasbro of the Star Wars HasLab that I am not anticipating actually getting funded. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit next week. Too.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all have a good week. Check out our streams during the week, and have a good one.
And members, watch for your names. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.